Hi y'all, good morning. Well, normally I like to be set up on the water and have the baits in so we can watch this sun come up together. Well, today we're running a little behind there, but I wanted to go ahead and get the camera on so y'all can see that sunrise. Some of you sleep in so damn late every day. You don't ever get to see it unless it's on one of these videos. So I wanted to have you experience that because by gosh, temperatures starting to drop a little bit in East Tennessee. These morning trips are winding down for me. Once it starts getting cold in the mornings, I'll be doing afternoon trips. So soak it all in there, people. It's winding down. We ain't got many sunrise trips left in us, but I'm making my way up here now to where we're going to be fishing at today. I guess I've been on the water now for over 30 minutes. I ran downstream. I was going to fish a different creek mouth down here. And I'm fishing an area today of the river that I've never fished before when we've had this much current flow. We had the historic flood there and way up in the mountains there in Tennessee and western North Carolina. That water's moving downstream and into the Tennessee River. The floodgates are open at all the hydroelectric dams around here. And so they're moving a lot of flow. And I've never fished this area with this much flow before, so didn't know what to expect. So I got down there where I was wanting to check out, and current flow is about 2 miles an hour, which is manageable in a kayak, but it's not ideal. So I just looked around on the graph right through there. I wasn't seeing any activity, no fish at all. So I thought, well, let's pull on up here. Let's go back to this creek here I launched in. I launched here in the back of this, and this one comes out. It's a fairly shallow creek. I think we're going to fish shallow days. I think it's what we're going to try. If you're seeing this, good news, things worked out for us. But like right there's some shad. I saw some shad, some bait activity in this creek on the way out. And like I said, out there in the main channel in front of the other creek downstream, just wasn't seeing anything. So we're going to get in this creek. I'm going to try to tuck us in right out here, kind of on the edge, kind of in this creek channel. I'll show you when we get set up here on the map card how I'm going to do it. I'll let you watch here as I'm getting us set up. But I want to put us out here in this old creek channel, but yet tucked out of the current that's in the main channel there. That way we can get fish that are hopefully maybe moving up into the shallows to feed, or maybe moving up to get out of that heavier flow. But we'll be out of the heavier flow ourselves. 2 miles an hour in the kayak is manageable, especially if you've got a motor with a GPS and spot lock and all that like we do. But it's not ideal. I mean, it's just, I didn't know what to expect. I come out here, I wanted to fish an area today that had a little flow, but didn't know till we got out here. And so plan A, I don't think was going to work out down there. Just wasn't seeing nothing. We'll go to plan B here. And so I'm going to put our transducer down in the water now. I'm watching on the map card. We're going to have to fix this. Let's adjust our depth here. There we go. Now what I'm looking for here, folks, you see we're about to drop off here in a second into the creek channel itself. And I just want to look, I'm seeing some bait up in here already as we go off. Okay, so here we are, we're dropping off now. I'm just looking around, looking for that right there. I want to see bait. And I want to find that old original creek bed. That's what I want. You can see where it comes up on this shelf here, and you've got this flat here, and you've got that old creek channel, the original creek channel that run right down in here before it drops off out into the channel. And that's what I want to put us in. I want to put us in that path that fish will take as they work out of the channel here, up in here into this creek. That's where I want us to go. But I kind of want to tuck us away here where we're not in the worst of that flow. So I don't want to get us out here too far. I can actually see where the current is here. Let's do this right quick. Let's move that down just a smidge. Okay. What do you think? You think right in here? We're definitely, you can see we've dropped off to 21 feet now. So we are in that old channel there. I'm gonna spot lock us. I'm just gonna take this transducer here. I'm gonna just spin it around, see what we see. Do we still see any bait? You can see where the channel comes up. There's something there. There is a little bit of bait here. I think we were seeing more kind of further back. I think, here's what I think I want to do. You can see we've turned it, the motor has turned us kind of into the current here a little bit. I'm just not seeing as much bait. As we were coming out, we were seeing more bait than what we're seeing now. I think I want to run us back here a little bit. And I know this video is a little bit different. Normally, I start these unedited, raw and uncut videos. That's what we're doing today. I like to start them when I've already set up and I've got us in position and we're ready to drop baits down so that hopefully we get bit fairly quickly into the trip, right? But today, since I made that long run that turned out to be a waste of time and the sun's coming up over here, I certainly want you to see that sunrise. We're going to do things a little different today, and you're just going to see me as I mosey along here and kind of look for how I want to get set up, how I want to position us. I want to keep us in that creek bed, but I want us to get back here maybe a little bit more in the slack water where there's more bait. When these fish move up, I want our baits there where they're going to be feeding at. Yeah, I'm seeing more bait right in here now. This is going to be a shallow day, man. We get a takedown here, 18 feet, buddy. We're in for a good time. Let's just go ahead and spot lock here. Got all that bait there from about 10 feet on down to 15 feet. This is 19 feet, so again, folks, we get bite. I can't get my words out. We get a bite today. It's going to be a huge takedown because we're going to have 16, 17 feet of line. So it's going to be, but y'all are smudged up here too. Lord Almighty, clean your face off here first before we do anything, folks. All right, this is where we're going to be. We're going to try it out. If you see in this, good news, it worked out. Let's get our stuff going here. We're gonna suspend 4 rods. We're gonna do live bait. We're gonna do cut bait. I got us some skipjack last night, so we've got plenty of fresh skips. I hope we still have some live crappie down in that bucket. I have not checked them today. We're just hoping for the best. But yesterday I had 3 live crappie left after our trip, so I'm hoping they're all still alive. I changed the water out before I left the river yesterday. So we're hoping that they're still in there, alive and kicking. In a second here, we can get us some skipjack. Crap, y'all just dropped that dang skipjack. You dropped another one out of the cooler here. Down in the, okay, there we go. All right, let's get us some skips on here, folks. Well, I'm completely unprepared. I was hoping to make it back upriver before the sun come up, and I saw it peeking up, and I was like, I gotta get this thing going. Let's cut our skip up. Yesterday was an odd day. We got very limited fish, and half of the fish came on the fly, on my stinger fly rigs there. I keep them little Catfish Sumo bait stalker flies. on them rigs. Half the fish came on the damn fly, including the biggest fish of the day yesterday, which happened right at the very end. Right when I was leaving, I got bit with that biggest fish. And it was on the fly. They wanted a smaller bait yesterday, so I'm going to cut the gut pocket out of one of those pieces of skipjack. And we'll try a smaller bait on there, along with the stinger fly, and see what that does for us today. I don't know. It was just it was a weird day. I ran into a friend last night, and he had catfished yesterday and hadn't done worth a crap either. So I don't know, maybe, you know, the fact that both of us on different bodies of water doing different things, neither one of us did worth a diddly-do yesterday. I guess maybe it was just something going on. But regardless, I want to go ahead and put us on a smaller bait today just in case. And if it works out, great. If it don't, well, it just won't. But we don't know till we try. I'm going to put this on our, now that you've seen kind of the graph there, you've seen how we're going about things, we'll put it on the main screen and kind of keep an eye on things here for a little while. Here's this bait. If you're new to my channel, here's my rig. 8-ounce egg sinker, swivel, 80-pound monofilament leader down to a 10-aught size circle hook, and then we got that fly there. It's a Catfish Sumo bait stalker fly, a few inches below it. I'm dropping that rig down when that sinker hits bottom, and it hits it fast because we're 19 feet deep. I'm just reeling down, raising it up, putting it in the rod holder so that bait is a couple feet off the bottom. And let's do this rod over here. Y'all remember, we'll have our live bait on the back left. Put the smaller bait on this one. I say live, but I hope to God they're still alive in there. Keeping that big a crappie, that many of them alive in that small a bucket for 2 days is a challenge. I was feeling lucky that we kept 4 alive for yesterday morning. And of course, we used that one, but if I keep them alive, by gosh, we're going to use them. Clean this cutting board first. I can't get y'all a clean house around here, and we'll throw this piece of skipjack back here in the cooler. Okay, here we go. Moment of truth. Oh no. Well, that one didn't make it. Oh crap. There's one. Where's my net at? Or y'all done lost the net too. We're just all discombobulated. This video is gonna suck today, man. We're all discombobulated. Let's hope. Oh, I think that other one's dead on bottom too. Crap. Dadgummit. No, he's still wiggling a little bit. He's still wiggling. Where's the other one at? Is he dead too? No, this one's alive and kicking here. This is the one we want then. This one's alive and kicking, folks. I can get him out the dang bucket. Okay. Neither one of them are doing particularly well. It's a challenge keeping baits that big alive that long in a dang 5-gallon tank. Where's my, I went on a big long dissertation yesterday about using crappie as bait. So I won't rehash that again, but here you go. You can see this fish is almost 12 inches right there. Got to be 10 inches in Tennessee to use them as bait. So this is a legal bait, and we are going to use him. So there he goes. He ain't in particularly good shape, but we're going to send him down as is. And if he gets bit, it's going to be a dang good fish that bites him. I had such high hopes. I had so much fun the other night catching them crappie. I had such high hopes for them, but it's just so hard to keep them alive for any length of time. They're a hardy fish in a bigger tank, but I just don't have a bigger tank. At least not one that I can deal with here in the kayak. So I'm gonna dump this water out. Here's a tip for you. When one fish dies in your tank, it changes the pH. They're all gonna start dying. So it's best to go ahead, change out your water. I don't know if it'll help this fish's cause or not, but we're gonna try to keep him alive a little longer. The things we do just to catch a catfish, folks. Okay. Oh goodness, I should let you all do the heavy lifting around here. Okay. If nothing else, we'll have a freshly dead crappie to cut up here at some point on this trip. Put our aerator back on there. Well, folks, it's taken a while. We are damn near 20 minutes into this video and just now got baits in the water. But again, I just wanted to kind of show you how we're getting set up. These trips, I mean, when I do these unedited trips, I want them to be real. I want to bring you with me, kind of show you start to finish how we're doing things, how I'm doing things anyway, for whether it's right or wrong, it's how I go about my day. And so hopefully it's helpful to those of you seeing how I'm kind of setting up the thought process. Normally these creek mouth situations, I would like to be kind of out, kind of more in the channel there, either on the bottom of the drop or the top of the drop, right where it starts to go out. And when I say that, I mean like the old original creek channel. This creek channel, you know, it comes out of here. It looks like you would think, well, the land over here and here, that'd be the creek mouth. But in reality, before they flooded this area to make the reservoir way back in the day, that creek ran all the way back out here behind us where we saw on the map there and dumped out. And normally that's where I would set up. But today with the extra flow and the fact that, you know, we're seeing more bait kind of here where we're at, and I saw a bunch of bait here in this creek. The next creek down, I wasn't seeing anything kind of around. I went up the top there on the drop and I wasn't really seeing much of anything. There's way more bait here. So we'll see. You know, as fish, they want to get off the treadmill and this extra flow that they're not used to dealing with. They come up into this creek to either feed or just, you know, take a break. We're sitting here fairly close into this creek before it dumps out to be able to take advantage of them, be able to give them an easy meal. So I don't know if it'll work out or not. This flow that we have does not ever happen this time of year. We just don't. It's just those historic floods there in the Carolina. Oh, here comes a damn bass boat. Y'all know I don't like talking around people. There's two of us on the water today. That's the first boat I've seen since I've been out here, and it looks like he's gonna come right over here and fish. Are y'all kidding me? By God, he is. He's gonna come fishing right through here. I mean, we ain't gonna interfere with him. He ain't gonna interfere with us, what we're doing. But there's two damn people on the water. Two people this month. I'm fishing a weekday. There's not gonna be a lot of people on the water anyway because of the flood conditions, although where we're at here, the water's up a little bit. It's up a couple feet today, looks like, but not a lot. But the flow's definitely more. There's a lot of debris and stuff floating downriver, so I think that's going to keep a lot of the pleasure boaters and bass boaters and stuff off the water today, but not this guy. Not him. He's going to throw him a spinner bait or a chatter bait and try to catch him something that's smaller than what we normally use for bait. Dadgummit. Fortunately, if he's like every other bass fisherman, he won't be here long. He'll make 5 casts and go 60 miles an hour down the river to the next spot where he'll make 5 casts. But yeah, we're just kind of winging it, man. This time of year, like I said, we don't have hardly any flow. And so the fact that we've got 2 miles an hour out here, which normally when they're generating this time of year, in the afternoon hours when you've got peak flow, you're lucky to have 1/2 mile an hour current here. So it's about 4 times the amount of flow that we normally get. And I know most of you are saying, depending on what river you fish, 2 miles an hour, Justin, that's nothing. And some of you are fishing rivers that got 6, 8, 10 mile an hour current in places. But, you know, for here, it's, again, 4 times the amount of flow that we would normally have during the peak hours of the day when they're actually generating. This is going 24 hours a day right now as they move all this water through. So the fish here, while they're certainly capable of dealing with that flow, it's out of the norm for what they're used to. And so I don't know how that's really going to affect them. Is it going to push them up shallow, kind of in the creeks? I fished shallow 2 days ago. I didn't do worth a crap. I didn't do worth a diddly-do, man. It wasn't until I got out at the end of the creek that I'd caught a couple fish, and then I went back there yesterday. That would have been the last video for you regular viewers, and started at the end of the creek, sat there for the duration of the trip, and we didn't do worth a crap, got 5 fish all morning long. And at the very end of the trips when I got the bigger one, the good one. So I don't really know what to expect. I'm just kind of winging it. It's not a situation where I can go back in time on the mental Rolodex and be like, well, okay, when this happened before, this is where and how I caught fish. I just don't have that to choose from. Because we haven't been through this time of year. I mean, we get this kind of flow, and sometimes the flood conditions in the spring if we've had a ton of rain. But I don't fish this area then, so I don't really know. I don't know what to expect. But I am seeing, look right here. I don't know what those are, but those might be crappie or something. A little bit larger marks that are up there. So there's definitely food in here for the catfish. Whether or not they're going to come in here while we're here, I don't know. If you're seeing this, well, guess what? They came in here. But I don't know that right now. As the sun pops over that house now. But I want to get out here and enjoy the day regardless. So I want to use these live baits, which they're barely hanging on, so they're definitely not going to make it another day. If we don't end up using this other crappie in the bucket, I'll throw him in the cooler before I leave today. I hate that they ain't all spry and lively this morning. I didn't look before I left the house. I didn't want to break my heart before I got out here. And I guess that one had probably died at some point in the night, and then it starts the deterioration of the water quality, and then everything else is going to die in there. So it just is what it is. You playing with fire. You put that many large live baits in a small tank like that, you're begging for it. It's better in a 5-gallon bucket like that, 1 or 2 crappie. But I caught them there a couple days ago, and I knew I was fishing yesterday morning. I'm like, well, if I can just keep all 4 alive through the night there, then I'll get out there. And hell, I thought I might use them all yesterday. And we did get that 1 crappie eaten. Something had him. Something took the rod over. But it just didn't stay buttoned up. So don't know what had him, if it was a blue or a flathead or what, but it just didn't stay buttoned up. We'll see today. I'd feel better about it if that crappie was more lively, was swimming, fighting and stuff. It would certainly draw more attention, but hopefully our our cut bait leaching off the blood and the oils there will have a nice little scent trail here, scent cloud. And any fish that comes up for that will maybe see that crappie there or sense him or feel him or whatever and be able to gobble him up. Because water clarity here is kind of muddy from all the flow, so not going to have a lot of visibility for these fish to see anything. But they're pretty in tune with their environment, like they know what's going on. I've caught fish on them damn flies in 100 feet of water where you know there's no visibility. I've caught them in just chocolate milk, mud-like conditions on the fly. So when you're catching them on that artificial bait and it's not putting off any vibration, any movement, any sound, that tells me these fish are pretty in tune with their environment. If it's bass fishing up here, if he was in tune with his environment, he would know that I don't want to interact with people today, at least not in person, and he'd go on to one of the 5 million other creeks or docks on through here instead of coming right down here next to us. But I guess we're going to have a conversation today with an actual human. I try to avoid that as much as possible these days. I just would rather talk to you all via this camera and talk to my dog, and that's it. Actual human beings in person, just, it gives me the heebie-jeebies, honestly, especially strangers. If it's people I know, it's okay. I ran into a friend there last night, and I talked to him for a little while. One of his friends that was out there fishing with him when I was going to get skipjack, and that kind of thing's okay. But a stranger, I don't want to talk to a stranger. Hell, we've been hearing our whole lives since we were kids, don't talk to strangers. I'm just doing what my parents told me not to do, or to do there when I was a kid. It's stuck with me all these years. It's the one thing I listen to them about. Right here at this. I think that might be a cat, possibly right there. It's down there near bottom, a little bit larger mark. Yeah, I don't know what to expect today, man. This could go either way today. You know what's going to happen because you're seeing this video. You know I'm going to catch fish. I don't know that at the present time. Like I'm really at this moment thinking this is a coin flip kind of day. It's either going to be we're going to be on them or we're going to get skunked. I think we got better odds of catching fish than this bass fisherman up here, though. Right now, his boat's perfectly lined up with us. He's going to have to, we're playing a game of chicken here. I'm not moving. I don't like talking on camera in front of people. Y'all know this. I'm weird about it. I don't like talking to people, and I don't like talking to a camera in front of people. There's another nice mark right there. There's some fish working up in here right now. I don't know what they are, but that's 2 better sized marks we've seen in the last couple minutes. It could be carp, it could be buffalo. I don't know what it is, but we got a bait right there in their face if it is cats. I'm about to bust out my glasses here, y'all. What the hell is this guy doing? I hope he's going to pull that motor up and get the hell out. Okay, good, he is. Miracles never cease. I wished that into existence. I sent it out in the universe, and the universe said, Justin, I will comply. Now watch you not be able to get the damn thing started. Okay, there it cranked up. Boy, that'd be something. Me having to tow his ass back to the ramp. Somebody commented on the video recently, y'all. I blocked his ass too, whoever it was. Some random screen name, just, you know how those people are. Anonymous people. It was a video. I had started that trip when I left the ramp, as we was going to catch some bait on the way to get where I was going to catfish. And as I was leaving the ramp, a boat was coming in, and he was paddling his way back in the boat. And I made some comment about it, you know, he had broken down or something and was paddling back. And somebody's blasting me in the comments there because I didn't offer to go over there and offer, see if he needed help, needed to call somebody. I'm like, really? Seriously? Like, that's the only damn thing you got to comment on a video about? Like that? Dude was 50 yards from the ramp. I'm in a damn kayak. I was in my pedal kayak that day. I wasn't in this one with the motor. I was in my pedal kayak. What am I going to do? Tow that guy? Come on. Like, what the hell am I going to do? And he was clearly fine. He was in good physical health, able to paddle the damn boat. And he's 50 yards from the ramp. I'm like, I swear to God, people just look for things to complain to me about. They just look for it. And you don't have to look that hard. I'll give you plenty of reasons not to like me. But some people, they just look for reasons to be upset with me. I think it's probably just because they're upset with themselves. I'm upset with myself right now for coming here today. I should have come down yesterday and investigated how much flow was here before making a decision today. Yesterday morning when we fished together, I was way on downriver. And we were kind of tucked in behind an island at the end of a creek, so we weren't really in the flow. And so today I knew I wanted to kind of be in the flow a little bit. I wanted to get our scent out there. But I wish maybe we'd went a little further downriver today, where it wouldn't have been quite 2 miles an hour. Because I feel like fish are going to do one of two things right now. They're either going to be all up in that flow. They might be up there at the dams in the tailwaters. Super fast flow, but I mean, the bait fish up there are just getting, as it's coming through the dam and getting all chopped up and everything. Like, it's probably a smorgasbord up there at the dams right now of easy meals for fish. So the dams are probably stacked with fish. Completely unsafe, though, to do. And it's unsafe to do in a boat right now with the amount of water coming through the spill gates and everything. But definitely unsafe in a kayak. The other option is maybe fish get out of the flow and they, further downstream and stuff. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't fish. Obviously, you don't fish these conditions this time of year at all, but I just don't fish current enough. Where I live, we just don't ever have it, especially fishing the morning hours like I typically do in the spring, summer, early fall months. You just don't have any flow usually. So I'm used to fishing kind of more lake-like conditions, so I don't have a great deal of experience knowing what fish are going to do, how they're going to move, etc. in the current. So your guess is as good as mine. Just wing it is what I know to do. Just put your baits in this situation here that we're in right now. I know that fish that do move out of the channel, assuming there are some, when they move out of that channel to work up in this creek, we are in the path that they're going to follow. And this particular creek, the old creek bed here that we're in, you could see when I come across it there, like, it's not very wide. And I may be able to spin the transducer around. I'll tell you what I'll do here. Let me see if I can run this thing further out. And we might get a better look. Put it on 100 feet and see what we see here. Yeah, okay. So I put that transducer 100 feet. So here's the 0 mark. This is where we're sitting. I've got it facing that way. You can see all that bait right there. But you can see right where it starts to come up out of that old channel that way, about 45 feet that direction, it starts to come out of it. Let me turn it over here now. Turn it that way. And actually, we're kind of, you can see where it starts to come up here, almost a little bit, about 10 feet to our left. So I actually, what I need to do is probably move us a little bit to the right. Let me hit the direction thing here. We'll move us slightly over. Because it looked like there was more bait over in that direction anyway there. Yeah. Yeah, I'll move us about, I hit the button twice, so that should move us about 10 feet over to the right there. Bring that back. But what I just want to be in the old creek channel. It's not super wide through here, but it's a path that fish can follow as they come out of the deep water into the shallows. They can work up that path back up in here, and our baits are just kind of right here. And the current that is kind of coming through here, not much, but there is a little over here where we're at, it's going to send that scent. The blood, the oils and stuff, it's going to send all that, disperse it a little bit. So we do have a little bit of scent dispersion to help fish find us and lock in on our baits. Oh hell, there's Rover. Good. He must have just been barking at one thing. Rover don't know we're here. Rover won't shut up if he knows we're here. He'll be down here at the water's edge probably. These people right here, look at this mess. We just got a gazillion gallons of rain dumped on us here last week. They water in that yard. I'm actually going to mow today for the first time in about a month. We were dry and just, my yard was dead before we had all this flooding go on there. And boy, since we got all that rain, my yard turned green again. It got tall. So I'm gonna mow for the first time in about a month this afternoon. I'm actually looking forward to it too. I like mowing. I don't know why, I just do. I got a fancy 0-turn mower last year. And it's fun. It's fun to ride that thing around my yard. And today I think because my yard is so high right now, I think it'll be extra satisfying because every time you make a pass, you're gonna see just a big difference. There's something enjoyable about that. I don't know why, but I just, when you make a pass and you've cut and then you come back around again and you see what you've cut versus what you have, there's something enjoyable about it. I can't explain it, but I enjoy it. But that's this afternoon's project, because I got enough bait for us there yesterday to fish this morning and tomorrow morning. So don't have to worry about making another bait run this afternoon. So it's the perfect day. Oh, right here. We're hooked up. There we go. There we go. There we go. Nice takedown. Nice takedown right there. They're all going to be nice takedowns today, even on smaller fish, because of the fact we got 16, 17 feet of line out. Every single takedown is going to feel amazing. That's the perk of fishing suspending baits this shallow. I don't typically like suspending baits less than 20 feet deep. I don't usually do as good as I do in deeper water. I don't feel like it's the best technique in the shallower water, but we're rocking it today, and if we get bit, they're all going to be fun. Actually, this is going to be a good fish, I think. Yeah, this is a good fish. Yeah, this is a real good fish. Nice blue. Nice blue cat. I told you, folks, if you're seeing this video, something went right for us. You had information that I didn't have. All right. Nice blue. This is bigger than my biggest fish yesterday. So we're off to a good start here. I'm gonna play him out a second here because this thing is still, I can tell he's still spry. This one ate a chunk of skipjack. These people up here in the house, they out there watering the yard, them sprinklers, they could be, if I had me one of them $1 million houses on the lake, I'd have lines cast out every day, right from the yard. You could be sitting up there on the bank and easily hit where we're at right now. All right, let's get our glove here. Where are we at on this? That didn't take, well, we're 40 minutes in on the video, but hell, half of that was just getting set up, getting ourselves positioned and getting our baits put down. So we really haven't had lines in very long, all things considered. All right, y'all, land this fish for me, would you? Why don't y'all do something for me today? Don't make me holler at the bass fishing guy down there. He'll come land it for me because he ain't gonna catch no fish today. Okay. Come here. Oh, dadgummit, he still ain't done. You know, when they come up from 50, 60 feet deep, you've played out a lot of that energy by the time you get them to the surface. But when they're coming out of 19 feet, not so much. You gotta play them out a little bit longer near the surface. Boy, he got my daggone phone soaking wet too. I had the charger end up on my phone. He just splashed water all down in that damn thing. You ornery fish, you. You come here now. No, you come here. Act like somebody. That's a pretty good fish, man. Pretty good one right there. He ain't happy with you for some reason. I don't know why he's got a problem with you. I don't know what y'all ever done to this fish, but he don't want to deal with you. Okay, now calm down, fish. We're indoor behavior time. That's a good one, buddy. That right there's a good fish. Let me get him unhooked. Okay. Y'all, hell far, y'all didn't have the camera mount set up here. I can't, boy, you're off your game today, folks. It for damn sure ain't me. I got to get some work out of y'all. There we go. Let me see if I can see. There we go. Okay. Let me hold him up. Hold him up one time. Nice. How about that for fish number one, man? I know we've had the camera going for 40 minutes or whatever, but really with lines in only 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So that's pretty good. Pretty good start. Gives me a little optimism, certainly more than what I had a few minutes ago. All right. Yeah, all right. Get on out of here, kitty. Hey, gone. All right, y'all. Maybe this trip here ain't going to be a total bust after all. So we'll send him down. Pretty sure that was the chunk that had the body, the gut pocket still intact. I'm pretty sure that was. So we'll put another one of those on. Let me get y'all back here in the chest and we'll cut up that other bait. Yes, y'all, that's awesome. Let me just grab another, let me get another skip out of here. I've got a variety of skipjack for us. We've got some big ones and we've got some little ones. It's kind of it's a hodgepodge today, but I'm happy to have them. Yesterday could have been, well, I at least blamed it anyway, at the time, on the fact that our skipjack was about 3 days old. Now, whether or not that played a role in us not catching many fish, I don't know. But that's certainly what I was going to blame it on. And so I do feel better about having us some fresh bait. And it's already paid off with a pretty nice fish, man. And I tell you, when you ain't got but 16, 17 feet of line out, the takedowns today, I mean, even if we get some dinks, like they're going to be, it's going to be fun. I just don't typically do this. Look at that piece of meat right there. That's a good one. I just don't typically do this style of fishing in the shallower water. It's just not a... You can catch fish. I do certainly think it helps having muddy water conditions like we do here right now. But if you're in kind of clearer water where you've got some visibility, and normally around here we've normally got pretty good visibility, a couple feet usually. The fact that they can see your kayak, the shallower water, they're gonna hear the water splashing against the hull a little more. They're gonna see the shadow of the kayak if you're fishing during the daytime hours. You've certainly got the motor noise there as it moves around, holds you on spot lock and stuff. I just think that it's just not the best technique for shallower water. So typically, if I'm 20 feet or less, I will usually do a different technique, whether it's dragging through the area or if I'm anchor fishing, just cast baits out, let them set on bottom. If I'm real shallow, sometimes I'll be under a balloon there. But we're kind of on the cusp of it here at 19 feet, and we've got some muddy water to kind of hide our shadow a little bit as the sun comes up here and stuff. So aside from just the motor noise from the motor adjusting there for spot lock and a little bit of aerator noise, which is undoubtedly vibrating, the sound travels much better through water, so any noise you make goes down. The fish kind of know, but I feel much better now that we've got our first fish, especially the fact it's a pretty good quality fish. I'm feeling much more optimistic now. Maybe this won't turn out to be such a dumb decision to come here after all. But it's amazing though, from the time I launched here in this creek, coming out here, I mean, I'm seeing bait. I'm still seeing right there something splashing right there beside us. But you're seeing all this bait here in this one. When I got out here this morning, I went down to the next creek because it's a much bigger creek and it kind of branches off. And I've caught some really big fish at that creek mouth before. And I wanted to check it out. But of course, out there at the creek mouth in the current flow, I'm looking around there at the graph, the live scope, I'm seeing nothing. Completely devoid. I mean, nothing. And so I went up to the top of the drop, kind of got out of the current, just like we did here. And again, just nothing. I mean, no bait fish, nothing. It's just like they're just gone. Look right here. My gosh, another one, another one, another one. On that chunk with the gut pocket. Fish number 2. This is another one we're gonna have to play out a little bit here. There's my sinker, we already got it up. That's a smaller fish. Smaller fish, but boy, he's gonna pull. We are gonna have some fun today in this shallow water, man. We are gonna have us a good time. Tug of war on a short line, it is a blast. I hope them people up in the house, I hope they don't come down here and talk to us, but I hope they at least look out their window once or twice and see what's possible for themselves if they just come out and cast a line off that bank over yonder. They probably don't even own a fishing pole up there. Got access to all these catfish right here, just a short toss from their yard. They probably don't even own a pole. They probably wouldn't want to fish down there in their yard anyway with them sprinklers going all the time. Nice, man. All right, I'm definitely feeling better now. 2 fish, boom, boom. Both on the gut pocket piece of skipjack. Very interesting. Very interesting. Both on the same rod too. This is a fish that's not, it's another blue, but it's not quite as big as the previous fish. I'd call this one I mean, he's a fun size length, but he's kind of skinny. I'll let you all determine whether you want to call him a large dink or a smaller fun size. I'd say smaller fun size, really, just because of the length, as he goes crazy. I'm gonna call him some other names too if he don't calm down. Boy, they're wound up, ain't they? Open up. Open up here and act like somebody. I ain't gonna give you front camera time, fish, but I will hold you over here in the sun. We can all get a look at you in all your glory. Get him going just like that. Nice. All right, folks, there's number 2. The day is improving by the second. Out of the flow up here. We're around some bait in this creek that actually has some bait in it. That's what I was talking about, or trying to talk about, before that fish interrupted us. I mean, I just wasn't seeing anything in that other creek. Nothing. I mean, no bait, no nothing. And it's weird how they're like, there's obviously bait in this creek, and we were talking, it's about, I'm terrible at judging distances, but like half a mile away, that other creek. So it's not that far, and that other creek's certainly bigger. But I mean, it's devoid. It's just, there's nothing there. I don't get it. And that creek that we fished there yesterday, the last video for regular viewers, I had fished it the day before, dragging, or trying to anyway. I don't know if you can call it fishing if I didn't catch a damn thing, dragging it. But I'd noticed in it, from the time I left the ramp, and that's where I started fishing in that creek, was at the ramp. And I dragged my way out, and I didn't see nothing as far as anything on the graph, bait, or anything until I got out there toward the end of it. And that's when I started noticing fish, and I spot locked there and dropped baits down. I caught a flathead and a blue there toward the end of that trip. And that's why I decided to go back there yesterday morning, because I'd caught those 2 fish. But here's that bait before we drop it down. But, you know, and obviously yesterday morning didn't work out particularly well for us as far as numbers or quality went. But yeah, I mean, it's just weird right now with the bait. Like, I think just the increase in flow and the water level fluctuating around here like it is, I think it's just thrown everything off. It's certainly thrown me off, that's for sure, because I feel like I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now. But, you know, all you can do, and here's a philosophy that kind of has served me well, and hopefully it'll benefit some of you all out there too, maybe. If you just put your baits where fish are going to move through, or where you think they might be at some point during the day, all of the other stuff the current flow, the water conditions, the water clarity, the moon phase, the weather, none of that stuff really matters all that much. They're just details of stuff that, sure, that's going to impact, all those things are going to make an impact, maybe as far as when fish eat, how much they're going to eat, all of that. But we can't control any of those things. I can't control when there's a full moon, when there's a new moon. I can't control how much water TVA is moving down through the river today. I can't control this water being muddy versus being clear. I don't have any control over any of those external factors. The one thing I can control is where I set up and where I put my baits. And if you put them in places where fish are going to have to swim through your bait to move from deep water to shallow water up to feed, good things are going to happen to you at some point. May not happen every day. May not be the time you're on the water on a particular day. But consistently over the course of time, if you stick with that strategy, you're going to catch a bunch of fish over the course of 6 months, a year, 5 years, whatever time period you're looking at. You can't look in the short term. You can't look at an individual day, an individual week. You got to look at it long term, and it all works out in the end. And so that strategy out here today is, so far at least, paying off. And I wanted to incorporate this same strategy at the next creek down, but when I got down there and the current was so fast out there at the entrance of it, and I wasn't seeing anything, and then I move up to the top and I'm not seeing anything, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm putting my baits potentially in the path that fish are going to be moving through, but what are they moving toward? If there's no bait up there, at least when I decided to come back up here, I'm like, at least there's bait here. I don't know if there's fish going to work out of the channel up into this creek today, but if they do, there's at least something for them up here to come eat. And these fish, I mean, they know where the bait's at. Their life depends on it. They follow the bait. They're going to hang out where whatever it is they're wanting to eat at the given time. They know. And so I just felt like our odds were better coming back up here, even though it cost us some time this morning, getting started lines in later than what I wanted to. I just felt like our odds were better fishing where the bait is versus at the other spot that I had initially thought we would hit today. And so far, so good. We'll see if it continues. Bait's still definitely down there and around and stuff, so I'm feeling better. Bottom line is I'm feeling better about it. I hope y'all feeling better about it. I would certainly like for us to have a good day. I always want to have a good day. I always want to catch fish. Don't always work out. I'll be honest with you, I was way more optimistic yesterday in the last video there. For two reasons. One, because the day before, when I'd finished that trip, I dragged that creek all the way out, hadn't done any good, and then I was spot locked at the end of it, and I caught a flathead and blue. I'm thinking, great, I'm gonna leave them be. I'm gonna come back yesterday morning there, we're gonna tear them up. I had them live crappie. I was like, man, it is going to be on like Donkey Kong. And just, boy, I mean, it was a dud. It was a dud of a day. At least by the expectations that I had set. Now, we did end up getting a fun sizer there at the end. And so, you know, it wasn't a total loss. And we got, I think it's 5 fish, I think, total. We got that one whole crappie, live crappie eaten, although we didn't land it. So, I mean, there was some action through the day. But considering the optimism that I had when I left the house yesterday morning, it was kind of a letdown. But nevertheless, you're going to have good days and bad. And productive days and non-productive days, and it just all works itself out in the end. It's better to not let yourself get too high or too low. Just go with the flow, do what you do. What I do, setting up how I do, I know it's effective over the long term. It all works out. If you've got a technique that you're good at or something that, a style of fishing that you just enjoy doing, do it. Do the hell out of it. Do it as often as you can. And don't look at it on an individual day. Just try to look at it over the season, over the year. And it'll pay off in the end for you. I mean, I've seen that with people I like, for instance, God, his name's escaping me. I'm friends with the guy on social media, on Facebook. His name, I've never met him in person. I've never talked to him, but we're Facebook friends, and I know him. I've read his magazine articles and video interviews he's done with like podcast type things. So, I mean, why the hell can't I remember? I'm so bad with names. I'm a damn idiot right now. Why can't I ever remember anything? His name's escaping me. Keith something. It's Keith. I feel bad about this. I've got a ton of respect for the guy. He's a great fisherman. I've been Facebook friends with him for years, and I can't remember his name right now if my life depended on it. Nevertheless, he's out in the Midwest. He catches flatheads on artificial baits out of a float tube. Y'all probably know who I'm talking about, and I don't know why. I apologize if he happens to see this, or his kinfolk see this video. I apologize. Again, I have a ton of respect for the guy. My brain ain't functioning. I don't know what the hell's going on today. I just can't ever remember crap anymore. But anyway, I promise you, if he goes out on an individual day, he's probably not getting a big flathead every trip out. But boy, when he does, I mean, he throws big, like, bass type lures. You might think that maybe like musky type lures, oftentimes jigs with huge plastics on them. And he's working them jigs down, just probing areas, right? And that float tube. And he busts some big flatheads over the course of the year. Now, again, I don't know him personally. I don't know how often he fishes. I just see his posts as they pop up. But I'd be willing to bet you money that he probably doesn't have a successful trip every time he goes out. He's not busting a big flathead every time he fishes. But when you look at his body of work over the course of time, and you see how many big fish he's caught, the size of the fish he's caught, the fact he's doing it on an artificial lure from a float tube, just something, a method, a technique that he clearly enjoys doing, he loves doing it, and he's gotten very good at it. When you look at his body of work over the long term, you can't help but think this guy's just super successful, and he is. But if you judged him on an individual trip, you know, it may not be very good. Maybe he goes out and he gets skunked, or he don't get a big fish. You know, you can't judge anybody, yourself or anybody. You can't judge their body of work on one trip. The important thing to do is figure out what you love to do. Do it as often as you can. And when you look back, when you're old in your rocking chair someday and you flipping back through pictures and whatnot, and you're going to have to look at pictures because you ain't going. If you're like me, you ain't going to be able to remember any damn thing. But you know what I mean? Like you just look back on it and you're like, boy. And I'm like that every year. I'll go back and just scroll through pictures from the year, and you're like, you know what, I had a good year. It may not always seem like it on an individual day or if I'm in a slump for a week or two, but it always works out over the course of the year. I'm going to get some days where I get skunked. I'm going to get some days that are just lights out, nonstop action. And then I'm going to have a lot of days where it's a fish here, fish there, but it works out in the end. And so it just comes down to how much time can you put in the water. If you got a full-time job and full-time family commitments, you may not get to go very much. You may have to look at your body of work over, if you fish 1 or 2 days a month, you may want to look at your own body of work over a 5-year period. Whereas somebody like me that's fortunate enough to get to go whenever I want, I'll put, 150 days a year or whatever on the water. I can kind of look at my own self over the course of 6 months to a year time period and kind of see how everything works itself out. But again, the most important thing with fishing, the most important thing in life in general, in my opinion, is to spend as much time as humanly possible doing what you love to do. And everything else just sorts itself out. I don't know why, it's Keith something. Why the hell can't I remember anything? You know what impresses me the most about humans at my age now are people like y'all regular viewers, I'm a fan of old wrestling. And so one of the YouTube channels that I watch, or really, watch it, listen to it a little bit, because it's like he posts YouTube videos, but it's podcast clips. But it's Jim Cornette. He's an old wrestling manager from the he's been in wrestling pretty continuously, long before I was born and all the way up through the 90s, but kind of most known for managing the Midnight Express there in the 80s when I was a kid. Anyway, he's got a podcast now, and I listen to clips of the podcast on YouTube all the time. His memory, and Jim Cornette, I don't know how old he is, 60, 70 years old probably. His memory is amazing. He's like a human encyclopedia. They do a segment on his podcast called Guess the Program. And his Brian Last, his podcast co-host there, will read a program, a flyer that they would put in a town, just a random town in the 70s, 80s, whatever, where the wrestlers, they'd be putting on a wrestling show, and it would be such and such wrestler versus such and such wrestler. Brian Last will read the card. Jim Cornette, his memory's so good, he can tell you the date, the location, the promoter, all of it, man. I mean, he is just, his ability to recall is just amazing. I can't remember yesterday. If you ask me what I had for lunch yesterday, I'm going to have to sit here and think long and hard about it. Jim Cornette can pull out a match from 1974 and tell you where they were at, who the promoter, what the finish was. It's amazing. I'm so impressed with people like that. I don't know what sets apart people like Jim Cornette from the rest of society, myself included. I just don't, is it just genetics? Is it something in his diet? Is it a certain amount of sleep or life experience? Is he just so passionate about the wrestling business that, I don't know. Is he able to recall everything in his life like that? I don't know. But it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. You know who else had a memory like that? That's just an impressive human being and unfortunately died a few days ago. I'm filming this video, what is today? Today's October 3rd, I'm filming this. He died a few days ago, Pete Rose. Pete Rose was one of my childhood sports heroes. Hell, as an adult, he's still a sports hero of mine. And if you've ever watched Pete Rose, I'm not talking about like his baseball playing days, but if you've watched him in just even recent years, he was 83 when he died a few days ago. But watch any of his recent interviews from just the last few years. His ability to recall stats, baseball stats, his stats, other people's stats, the years of these milestones or whatever happened, like, it's amazing. And he don't have to think about it. Like, he can just pop it off the top of his head and tell you everything about every player, all these different generations. Like, it's amazing. His ability to recall. I hate that he died too, man. Just, every time, I mean, death is always sad, especially if it's somebody that you know, or family, friend, whatever. Those are obviously tragic events if it's someone close to you that dies. But anytime somebody that you weren't friends with, like a Pete Rose, but yet it was somebody that you looked up to and admired, a celebrity type. Anytime somebody like that dies, it's always at least with me anyway. I mean, death hits everybody different, but with me, it's always just, it makes you feel a certain way. There's a sadness, a shock. I don't know why you're shocked. I mean, he was 83. All humans die. Me, you, everybody we all know, we're all going to die. We know death is coming. We've all experienced death in some way or another, whether it's friends or family that you've had that died. I've certainly experienced that. I worked as a nurse in the ER for a lot of years. I worked with death every day. And you get kind of desensitized to it, working around it a little bit. But again, when it's somebody, a Pete Rose type, somebody a larger than life type figure, it's another one of those situations where it's just kind of humbling that it's even though people are kind of larger than life in Pete Rose's situations, it's not infinite. It all ends for all of us. And I don't want to get all morbid and stuff on here. People have told me I talk about death way too much on these videos, but can't help myself. It's a part of life. Sometimes that's just where the conversation takes us. And very sad to see that Pete Rose had died. I'll tell you a story about Pete Rose. I met him years ago. Well, first, before I tell you the story about how I met him, let me give you the backstory of why I admire Pete Rose so much, why he was a sports hero of mine. So I was born in 82. So by the time I was born, Pete Rose's best years of playing baseball were behind him. Right there's another nice fish. Look at this right here, folks. Right there, he's 15 feet away. 15 feet that direction. That's where I got the transducer point right now. Him's working his way back. I can't get him in focus there on the screen. Nevertheless, we got some fish working through here. I'm still feeling optimistic here. But anyway, again, I was born in 82, so Pete Rose's best playing days were long behind him by the time I'm born. But when I was a little kid, I was a big baseball fan. I played t-ball, little league, all that. I mean, I was a big fan. And growing up in the 80s, it wasn't like TV now. Some of you older people in my audience, you'll remember, if you had an antenna, you had 3 channels. If you had cable, you had a lot more, but it was like regional broadcast on ball games and stuff. So living in the South here, you watched the Braves. Now my grandma had cable, we watched wrestling on, and we watched TBS and we watched the Braves. And occasionally you might watch a Cubs game on WGN. but Braves were the team if you lived in the South. And so in the 80s, man, I was a huge Braves fan. I was a big Del Murphy fan because he was the star of the Braves back then. And in 1988, I'm a Little League All-Star, man. I'm super into baseball. I've got baseball cards, and there's my man, Del Murphy. He's on the box of Don Russ, 1988 Don Russ baseball cards. And so I had those as a kid. And ain't it so, I can't remember yesterday, but I can recall 1988 Del Murphy being on the box of baseball cards. What the hell's wrong with my brain? But anyhow, as a kid in the 80s, I remember thinking how cool Pete Rose was, because, and again, I wasn't watching his games every day. You rarely saw a Reds game unless they were playing the Braves or the Cubs or something on WGN. But his story at the time of how he was playing and managing the team as a small child, I'm like, this is the coolest guy ever. He gets to play and coach the team. How awesome is that? And so, again, 1988, which is, how the hell I remember, I don't know, but I can. 1988, I'm 6 years old, and I don't remember the name of the toy company. I don't know if it's Hasbro or Kenner. One of those big toy companies come out with action figures of baseball and football players. They were called starting lineup figures. And of course I had, oh, look right here. Look right here. There we go. There we go. We got another fish. We got another fish. Oh, and he just come off. He just come off. He hit that chunk with the gut pocket cut out. Let's drop it back down real quick. He hit it and come off. Okay, we'll give that a little bit more time, and we'll probably end up switching that bait out. Since some other two hit with the gut pocket in, well, the next one we switch out, we'll leave the gut pocket in on it. By God, he's back again. He just hit it again. And of course, I get turned around here, and he's going to leave it alone. I swear, fish, if I put my feet up again, you better not interrupt me till I'm done with talking about Pete Rose. These people on the edge of their seats wanting to hear how I met Pete Rose. There's probably at least 1.5 people in the audience that gives a damn. It's at least going to be nice enough to pretend to give a damn. So, we'll try it again. I'm going to try to put my feet up again here. So, 1988, they come out with these action figures. And of course, again, I'm a kid. I'm into action figures, G.I. Joes, He-Man, Thundercats, Ninja Turtles. Like, I'm into all this stuff as a kid. And now they've got baseball action figures. And I got Del Murphy, of course, because I'm a Del Murphy fan. But I also got Pete Rose. Because the Pete Rose action figure, starting lineup action figure, I don't know if this was meant to be this way or if it was just like an optical illusion and it looked this way, but Pete Rose's head on the Pete Rose action figure from 1988, it looked bigger than the other action figure heads. And again, I don't know if it was like that in reality or if it was just an optical illusion, but the Pete Rose, the head of the Pete Rose action figure looked bigger than the other figures, so it stood out. And again, as a kid, I'm just like, this guy, he coaches and plays at the same time? Like, that's so cool. So I had his action figure. And as I've gotten older, and later childhood, teenage years, where you can actually kind of learn more about the game of baseball and the stats and stuff, you can't help but respect the kind of player that Pete Rose was. I mean, just aside from just the fact that he was the hit king, as he's known, having the most hits of all time, the fact that he played at such a high level for so long, the fact he played so many different positions at the major league level, it's just his stats. I mean, in my opinion, and this is, you know, everybody's got an opinion, but in my opinion, Pete Rose is the greatest baseball player to ever live. And I would argue with anybody till I'm blue in the face. Just comparing, does he have the home run record? No, he didn't have the power like a Barry Bonds or a Babe Ruth, you know, but I mean, his ability to get on base, the longevity that he played, the hustle. I mean, Charlie Hustle, how passionate he was about winning. You can't help but root for somebody like that. When you see somebody playing that hard, giving it their all every day, you can't help but root for somebody like that. And so I had a ton of respect for Pete Rose, the player. You know, you can say what you want about Pete Rose, the person, yada, 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 but Pete Rose, the player, the on-the-field player, Charlie Hustle, you can't help but respect the guy and how he played the game. And so I developed that respect for him as I got older there and was able to understand the game of baseball more and whatnot. And so flash forward now to I'm an adult. I went out to Las Vegas. A little bit of a celebration. I had paid off my house. I've told this story on one of these unedited videos before, but there was a time in my younger life that I made, my early 20s, I just made dumb decision after dumb decision after dumb decision. And before I knew it, I was in just an overwhelming amount of debt. And then I got hurt in a car wreck. And it was one of those life-changing moments for me. Like I had to make a change. I had to change my ways. I had to change my life. Because I was paycheck to paycheck, just in debt up to my eyeballs in my early 20s. And then I get hurt. And then it's like, at the time after I got hurt, I broke my hip and my pelvis, and I was in bad shape. And at the time, I didn't think I was going to walk normal again. That's what they were telling me right after my car wreck. And the immediate aftermath was that I wasn't ever going to be able to walk normal again. I was going to have a limp. I was going to have chronic pain. I was going to need a hip replacement in a few years. Like, it was just, at the time, I mean, it was a really bad point in time in my life. I was in a bad spot. And that was just the physical aspect. Now throw in the fact that I'm well over 6 figures in debt at the time and don't know if I'm going to be able to work. You know, I'm like, this is, and so as I recovered from the injury and thankfully made a full recovery, I don't have any chronic pain. I don't walk with a limp. I've not needed a hip replacement, haven't developed arthritis in my hip joint. Like, I'm, aside from a scar going from basically my hip down to my groin, you wouldn't know anything's wrong with me unless you looked at me on an x-ray and seen that I'm the bionic man from the waist down. Like, I'm very fortunate how things worked out. So once I recovered from that and was able to go back to work, and I had to go back to work before I was really able to. I couldn't get cleared to go back to work. So I had to go get a different job and was able to fake it long enough to pass the physical there and go ahead and start working before I was really at a point where I should have been working. But I had to. I was out of money. Like, I was, you know, you got all this debt and I hadn't been able to work. I couldn't bear weight on my left leg from August 11th when the wreck happened to November, and I consider November 8th my Independence Day, because that's when I took my first step after the wreck. Like, I couldn't work. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. And of course, the bill collectors don't give a damn. You owe money. You know, you've got bills to pay. Nobody gives a damn about your problems. You've took on a debt, and they want their money. So when I got through that situation, I got to make changes in my life. Like, I can't live like this. I wasn't happy. I had the American dream. I had, at the time I was an LPN. That was my first round of nursing school. I'd become an LPN. I had a job. I had a house, motorcycle, vehicles, man, I had all the toys, like I had it all. To somebody looking at me from the outside like, man, this kid, he's got it all. He's living the American dream. But I was miserable. I was so far in debt, I couldn't enjoy anything. I was paycheck to paycheck, having to work overtime just to make minimum payments. Like it was awful. Stressed all the time. And then, of course, you get hurt and you add all that in. And so anyway, fortunately, my rehab went pretty quickly. I didn't have chronic pain. Don't have the limp. I was able to get back to normal. And so I made some changes in my life. First thing I did, I went back to school. And I went from being an LPN to an RN. And, oh, big takedown. Did he just drop it? Boy, he rocked the kayak, man. He rocked the kayak and didn't get our bait. Let's switch that bait out. I mean, I know it just got hit again, but it probably was a fish not really big enough to get the bait. But just the fact that we've got such a small amount of line out, that, I mean, it just rocked the kayak. It literally just, I'm sitting here and the kayak just goes boom. That's fun when that happens. We're gonna put another bait on though. We'll switch that out and leave the gut pocket in on this one. Fish seem to be, at least the two that we've landed, were pretty aggressive and ate that larger chunk. So leaving the gut pocket in on this one will just help us get a little bit more scent out. Okay. This rig here is just a regular Carolina rig too. Don't have the fly. I'd put I got two regular Carolina rigs, mainly for the live bait. That one there is on the cut bait. So anyway. Let me get back to the Pete Rose. I'm giving you the behind the scenes that leads up to the Pete Rose story. So anyway, I go back to school, take on even more debt while I'm going to school because student loans. And I had to work full time while I went to school. But, you know, I couldn't do overtime and go to school, so I couldn't really knock a chunk out of my debt. But when I finally got through with school, again, I'm six figures in debt because all the dumb decisions I had made, plus taking on more student loans. I start trying to figure out, like, how am I going to dig myself out of this hole? And a friend of mine gave me a book, the Dave Ramsey book, Total Money Makeover. And I read that book, and I'm like, I can do this. And it was just a simple blueprint, basically. Anybody can do it. But I'm like, I can do this. And so I sat down on my budget and my income that I was making there at the time, and I mapped it out. I'm like, okay, I can get out of my debt in 6 years. If I cut all my expenses, you know, I got rid of that's when I got a small car. That's when I went to a compact car. It's like, I'm gonna get a compact car, save on money on insurance, save money on gas, get rid of the larger vehicle, sold the motorcycle. I sold my boat that I had at the time. I mean, I cut expenses everywhere I could. And I mapped it out. I'm like, I've cut all these expenses, can work some overtime at the job. Like, how long is it going to take me to get myself out? And I come up with my 6-year plan, I called it. It was going to take me to get out. Now, fortunately, it didn't end up taking me 6 years because I ended up, I'd quit my job here locally and began travel nursing, which was an increase in pay when I did that. So between the increase in pay and just working more hours and stuff, I was able to get out of that debt much quicker. And so 32 years old, I paid off my house. That was my last. I followed Dave Ramsey's plan to the T, man. Just take your smallest debt, throw all your extra money on it, you pay it off, then you go to your next smallest debt, you do the debt snowball. And that's what I did. And so when it got down to the end, my biggest debt there was the house. And so that's what I paid off last. And I made my final payment on the house, which that's a whole nother story in itself. I'm going to circle back to Pete Rose here in a second, folks. I'm going to take you down the Bank of America detour right quick. I hate Bank of America with a passion. Anyway, that's who my mortgage was through. I go in there. Well, before I go in there, I'm down to my last payment on my mortgage. I'd been throwing every time I got paid, all my extra money went toward the debt, right? And so when it was time to make my last payment, I got my paycheck. I don't remember how much I owed on the house at the time. It was like under $2,000. It was a smaller amount of money, but I got paid. I'm like, yes, it's over. I'm out. I get online, because that's how I'd been paying my payments there online. And this is back like 2014, so I don't know if things have changed, but then you couldn't pay your last payment online. It wouldn't let me do it. Had to go to a bank, an in-person location, to make the last payment for some reason. So I'm like, whatever, whatever. I'll go in there to the bank tomorrow. So next day, I go in there to the bank, man, and I'm walking in there, styling and profiling. I'm damn near strutting into that bank like a nature boy Ric Flair. Woo! I'm going in there. I'm about to drop that check and walk out a free man, debt-free. First time in my adult life, debt-free. So I get up to the counter there, and lady asked me, how can I help you? And I said, I'm here to pay off my mortgage. I got my check right here. I said, no offense to you, but I'm tired of you people. I'm ready to be done with you. So she pulls up my account. I hand her the check. And she says, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I can't accept this check. Oh, what? Why the hell not? She said, this is your final payment, so it has to be a certified check, cashier's check. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with my just normal check? You've took it for every other payment. I've paid online. Like, there's not been any problem for you, but this is the final payment. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I turn around, I go out of there, still technically in debt. I got to go to my bank now because I don't have a bank account with Bank of America. I was at the credit union. I only had my mortgage through them. And I'd got my mortgage through a different company, and I guess they had sold my mortgage to Bank of America, so I had to end up paying Bank of America. But anyhow, I go to my bank, I get the cashier's check or whatever. I go back down to Bank of America. And again, I'm walking through there like daggone Vince McMahon. I'm strutting. I'm like, this has been a process to get this final payment done, but once it's finally done, like, I am out, buddy. Done. Finito. Never going to be in debt again. Never in my life will I ever be in a situation where I'm going to risk losing everything because, whether it's injury, illness, whatever, I will never let myself get in that situation again. Because it had been so traumatic for me before, because I had been stressed prior to my wreck because I had all this debt. I just kept buying stuff because I could afford the payment. I couldn't afford the item. I couldn't afford the motorcycle. I couldn't afford the fancy truck that I had that I ended up wrecking, but I could afford the payment. So therefore I had it, along with my house and everything that you buy to put in your house and stuff that they couldn't afford, being that young. But I just wasn't happy. And then, of course, you have the wreck, and now you've got all this debt on top of you, and you don't know. You're dealing with the injury and not knowing if you're ever going to walk normal again and all that stress. And it was a traumatic experience in my life. It shaped me. It turned me into the person that I am now. And maybe you can understand that, maybe you can't, depending on your own life experiences. But like, I have a big problem with debt. Like, I don't like owing anything. I have, like right now, I just got a new truck recently. I have the cash for that truck, and I did end up financing it. This was the first debt I've took on in forever. But it was 1.9% financing, so I'm like, I have the cash for this truck, but it's better for me to leave the cash in my account that's earning more interest than what I'm paying on the. So I still hate having a damn payment hanging over me. I hate it. I hate owing, but it's the financially smart move because the money's making more interest than what the interest is on the loan because of the differences in the interest rates. So anyway, I have a big problem with debt, but it was all because of that. But anyway, I walked out of Bank of America finally after handing in that cashier's check, debt-free, like first time in my adult life. I didn't owe anybody anything. I was a free man. I was truly a free man. So, fast forward. I had basically what you might refer to as the summer of George, except it was the summer of Justin. Y'all remember Seinfeld? When George Costanza took the summer off and he's just frolicking around, living it up. He's a free man, George Costanza. I basically had that. It was just the summer of Justin. And so, you know, I had been super tight, man. I had cut out everything, wasn't eating out. I wasn't using my clothes dryer because I had read that using your clothes dryer, you spend about $4 a month. And I'm like, well, hell, that's $48 a year. It could be going toward my debt. Like I was hanging my clothes out to dry on a clothesline that I had strung up there on my carport. Like I had cut out everything. And so now that I was debt free, I was like, I'm going to splurge a little bit. Okay. I'm going to live a little bit. And so I did. And so one of the things I did is I went to Las Vegas. And my mom had taken me to drop me off at the airport, so I didn't have to park my car there. And when I was getting ready to go, she gave me $100. And she said, I want you to take this money, and I want you to buy something, do something for yourself that you wouldn't do with your own money. Because my mom's sweet like this. My mom's the best person ever. And so I go out there to Las Vegas, and we're having a good time, me and my girlfriend there, and we're just having a good time, and seeing the sights and doing everything that you do in Las Vegas, you know. And and this is, you know, a long time ago, but back then, at the Luxor Casino, which is the pyramid-looking casino, if you're ever watching one of the ball games or something, or a movie, and you see the aerial shot of the Las Vegas Strip, there's that giant pyramid. That's called the Luxor. Well, back in those days, Pete Rose used to have there was a sports shop in there, and Pete Rose would have a table, and he would set up at a few hours a day for a few days a week there at the Luxor. And I saw that, and I'm like, that's what I want. That's what I'm going to spend that $100 on. And so at that point in time, they had it was like a meet and greet type session that you could do with Pete Rose. And you'd walk in there and you would, they'd put you through the line here, and you go and you pay your money. It was $100 for a meet and greet, and you could pick out an item that he would sign for you, and you could sit down with him for a few minutes and talk and do pictures and all that stuff. And so I paid the money, and I go through there, and I got a ball for him to sign. And I sat down with Pete Rose. And folks, I'm starstruck. I sat down with Pete Rose. It was damn near embarrassing how I was acting. You've seen the video footage of like a little girl if Justin Timberlake's in concert, or Justin Bieber, Elvis, whoever the star of the day is. You see these little girls just about to faint, about to cry because they're seeing Elvis Presley or something. That's me sitting down next to Pete Rose, man. Like I'm starstruck by the guy. And so I'm nervous, I'm fumbling my words, I don't even know, I completely just lost my mind, didn't even know what to say, what to ask him, nothing. I'm just sitting there. But Pete Rose, he was so cool. He was such a cool guy. He would talk to you, and make it sound and make you feel like you'd been best friends your whole life. And so he asked me, you know, where are you from? And I said, grew up in East Tennessee, right outside of Knoxville. He said, Knoxville, yeah, I played minor league ball there. And he starts going on stories about playing minor league ball. And he was talking about Farragut, Tennessee, which is a kind of a small town right on the western edge of Knoxville, between Knoxville and Lenore City. I don't live very far from there at all. And he's talking about staying at the Farragut Hotel and all the stuff he was doing there in the minor leagues. And I'm like, this is so cool. Pete Rose was playing ball right there where I live, man. And it was the coolest thing. And he signed a ball for me, and I took pictures and all that. And it was the best part of that Las Vegas trip. And just a really cool experience. Getting to meet somebody that was a sports hero there from when I was a little kid, just thinking how cool he was getting to play and coach the team, to meeting him, and just, it was an awesome experience. And so Pete Rose has remained one of my sports heroes my entire life, and just hate to see that he passed away. I just hate to see that. And I swear, I think he's the greatest baseball player of all time. And of course, he had his off the field stuff, the gambling scandal. You hear some of the other stories about him. He, maybe wasn't the best person in real life, but you can't argue that Pete Rose, the baseball player, he was awesome at what he did. And his ability to interact with somebody like me who was a complete stranger, and just make me, and it may have all been just a sales pitch, a sales act, I mean, who knows, but at the time, and even now, I'm like, what a cool experience that was. And, some of you out there are probably like, well, hell, Justin, I can't believe you'd spend $100, or you just got yourself out of debt, and you go out there to Las Vegas, and you spend $100 on it. Worth every penny. It was worth every penny, and I would totally do it again. I've still got that baseball. I've still got that Pete Rose starting lineup action figure from 1988 that I've had my entire life. Like, it's that, I don't have a lot of mementos and stuff in my house. Like, I don't like dusting around stuff, but I got that ball sitting on a shelf right there in my bedroom. Still got it. And just sad times to see one of your sports heroes pass away. Just makes you feel a certain way. And I really hate it, man. I really hate it. But fond memories of meeting Pete Rose. I'll never forget. I can't remember yesterday. I can't remember. You asked me what I had for lunch yesterday. I can't tell you. But I can remember meeting Pete Rose and how starstruck and nervous I was out there. I can remember that like it was yesterday. Which I guess I shouldn't say I can remember it like it was yesterday, because I can't remember yesterday. But you know what I'm trying to say. Like, I remember that vividly, what it was like to get to meet him. Just a awesome experience, worth every penny to do that. And I think, my thoughts on it is he should 100% be in the Hall of Fame. I know he's kicked out of baseball for the gambling. I think that should totally be part of his story in the Hall of Fame. But what he did on the field as a player is it's just, the Hall of Fame don't seem legit without him in it. I mean, there's artifacts of him in there, bats and stuff that from his playing days are in there, but you don't have him in there. Like, come on. Like, it's stupid. And I hate that he didn't. I'm sure they'll put him in the Hall of Fame at some point now that he's dead. But I almost feel like it's a slap in his face now if you wait until he's passed away to put him in. Like, it should have been done a long time ago. And part of that's on Pete. He never really would take full responsibility for his actions with the gambling. I think if he had come out early on and was honest about it, maybe he would have got in at some point. But the fact he waited, I don't know how many, 10, 12 years, however long it was, after he got kicked out, and then admitted to it as he's trying to sell a book, like, it's, whether his heart was in the right place with coming clean at that point or not, we'll never know, but it was a bad look. The perception was it was a money grab. And so I think that certainly hurt his cause as far as getting in. But regardless, I promise you there's bad people in the Hall of Fame. Okay, maybe it wasn't gambling related on baseball, but I promise you some of them people that are in the Hall of Fame right now, some of them probably took some steroids that obviously the guys like Bonds and Clemens and stuff should be probably statistics-wise in the Hall of Fame. They're currently not because of that scandal and stuff, but I'm sure some guys that are in there were probably on roids before and people didn't know. I'm sure there were some people that done some bad things in their personal life. Maybe they beat their wives or whatever, you know. Like there's bad people in all walks of life, and I'm sure some of them are in the Hall of Fame right now. So it's hypocritical to keep somebody out over something like that, in my opinion. We all got our opinions on it, but I think at this point, if you put him in now or at some point in the future, after he's died, I think it's just it's a smack in the face. Maybe it wouldn't be to his family. Maybe they would appreciate it. But as an outsider, as a fan, looking at the situation, I think if they do, and I assume they will, I assume they will try to make a spectacle of it and make some money off Pete Rose. I'm sure they will. This is what companies and sports organizations, this is what they do. But I think it's a slap in the face. So, sad times. Pete Rose passing away. Again, it just, when somebody you admired like that dies, or when it's somebody that you know, friend or family, whatever, death just hits you a little different. We get desensitized to death as society now. I can tell you just firsthand, working as a nurse for as long as I did there in the ER, I mean, you watch people die all the time. I've watched countless people die in the ER. That's part of the job. And you learn, as a nurse, as a human being, you learn how to cope with that. Like, you got to let it go. You have to be kind of emotionally shut off to death, because you're going to have patients die. And you can't be, as a nurse, you can't be letting the emotions affect your job performance. And I'll give you an example. Let's say your patient dies and you're tore up about it as a nurse. You're all emotional, you're upset, you're racking your mind thinking, well, what could I have done different? What as a team in there in the ER, what could we have done differently to have had a different outcome? If you're doing, and you all know this, you've had death in your life, somebody you know, a friend, a family member, grandparent, whatever. We've all known somebody that has passed away, and in that immediate moment after you find out, our brain's not right, Like you're not able to focus on a task at hand because your mind is just obsessed with the loss that you've just experienced. And so maybe you forget your car keys, or you walk out your house and the stove or the iron's on, or you go out to get in your car and your car keys are back in the house. You know how it is. Like you're not focused. You're not focused on what you're doing because your mind is trying to cope with whatever you've just experienced, the loss, the emotion, everything you're processing. If you do that as a nurse, When you come out of your patient's room who's just died, you still got other patients to take care of. Chances are you're behind. If you've been working a person trying to save them, we call it a code in the ER there, you're working a code if somebody's dying. You've probably been in that room a long time. You've probably been in there a while. Meanwhile, life has went on outside that room. Other doctors, nurse practitioners, they're seeing your other patients. Orders are piling up on your other patients. Headbait got hit. Headbait got hit. Don't let him get in that motor up there, y'all. This one I don't think is going to be very big. I mean, nice takedown on the short line, but I wonder if this ain't hit the fly. I don't know if he's big enough to have got the head. He did hit the fly. He did. Muddy water, by God. You can't hardly see nothing a few inches down, but he found that fly down there. Small blue. He got it right in the mouth. Small blue cat found that fly. Now that fly might be moving a little bit with whatever amount of current. The current right through here, it's not one direction. You can see the current moving out there, but through here, this motor keeps spinning us around every which way. But there is a little movement. And as the kayak moves, of course, it's going to move that fly. But it's not got any vibration. It's not got any flash to it, really, other than maybe just a little tinsel there in the hair, which you probably can't see down there in this muddy water anyway. But by God, that fish knew it was there, and he found it, and he ate it. I'm telling you, they are in touch with their environment. Like, they're in tune with it. I don't want to be in tune with this hook and my thumb either if he tries to spin around on me here. There we go. Give me a hook back, fish. Come on now. Where the pliers at? Oh, fly fish. They wanted that fly yesterday, apparently. They wanted a smaller bait yesterday. There he is, old skinny, long skinny dink. We'll get him out of here. I'm gonna switch that head bait out while we got that line up there. We will put the other head we cut on. This one here is probably okay, but I mean, it looks okay, but it's been down there a while, and we've got this other one cut, and so we're just gonna go ahead and switch it out here. Might as well. Get hold of the thing. I like to go up under the gill plate there, right out either the top lip or the nostril there, depending on the size of the skipjack. That's my personal preference when hooking a head bait. I like to come down and hook these fins just to help them get it down the gullet a little bit easier when they're eating it. Help you hopefully get a better chance at actually hooking them when they eat that bait. Let's drop it back down. Bring it up off the bottom. Another fish, man. Another fish. I'll take it. But I don't remember what I was talking about now. Something about, well, anyway, yeah, I was talking about the nursing there. And, you know, when you come out of a room where somebody's just died, you've probably been in there a while, you're behind now. And so if you go into your other patient's rooms and you're in a rush, because again, you're behind, you've been in the patient who's died room a long time, you go in the other room still thinking about the patient that just died, you're very likely to make a mistake, medication error or whatever. And if it's a busy night, they're about to roll that dead body out of that room and put you a brand new patient in. And so you can't be, bottom line is you can't be thinking about the past. You got to be focused on the present. And so as a nurse in the ER, you learn to very quickly, when you start, you learn to kind of desensitize yourself to death. You get just hardened off to it in a way. It don't mean that you don't care. It don't mean that you're not going to try as hard as you can to save somebody, but you kind of have to just let the emotional side of it go so that you can function at the job. And so I kind of just personally, I got in the habit of, when I would come out of that room, I'd go to the sink, I'd wash my hands, and I'd wash my hands a little longer than I normally would. And during that extra moment that I would take there washing my hands, I would just allow myself to feel whatever I needed to feel in that moment. Whether it was sad, angry, whatever, you know, oftentimes all those emotions that you experience. But when I would turn that faucet off and dry my hands, like that was it. You just let it go. You done all that you could do, and you let it go, and you're on to the next task. And I can't say that all nurses in the ER are like that, but I think we all have a way to cope, a way to desensitize yourself to it. I mean, there's obviously some times where you'll have a patient, maybe it's a kid or a unique circumstance of some kind that it'll hit you different in the moment, and maybe it's a little bit more difficult to cope with that one than, you know, any other random patient. But you can't take that stuff home with you, and you can't take it into the next room. So you have to be able to kind of shed that emotion very quickly and get on to the next task. And I don't say it's easy to do, but when it's people you don't know, it's certainly easier to do than when it is family or friends. And again, a random person dying in the ER, well, it's just it's a Tuesday night, man. It's just people die every day when you work in that environment. But anytime a celebrity, an idol of some kind, it does make you, and maybe this is just unique to me, I don't know. But it just kind of makes you face mortality. I think you realize, like, man, this person's larger than life, and they've died. I'm going to die too. And you know, I mean, hell, I know that in my mind. I've seen it every day I go to work. People are dying, but it's just, there's certain times when things happen or certain people die that it makes you just really realize that there's an expiration date on all of us. I don't know if I'm explaining that in the correct way to kind of get the point across, but that's just kind of how it is with me. But I do think as society as a whole, I think we've all gotten a little bit desensitized to death in general, I think, just because of everything we see. I mean, the news, you turn on, I hate watching the news, I never watch it, but you turn it on, it's death. It's somebody's killed in war, terrorist attacks, whatever. I mean, it's news, it's just nothing but death. You turn on movies, people getting blown to smithereens, killed in all these movies. Video games, man, when I was a kid, video games are different. Nowadays, it's like realistic death scenes in all these video games. So from a small child on up, you're just desensitized to it. You know, when I was a kid, man, had Atari games. Then you had Super Mario. I had Duck Hunt. Remember Nintendo? You came with Super Mario and Duck Hunt. You had that gun, and you'd shoot the birds and stuff. So I guess there was some death as a kid. But it was just different then. And if you watch TV back when I was a kid, when I was little, Dukes of Hazzard was a big show, and the A-Team was a big show. And I don't know if you all noticed this, but if you watch an episode now compared to normal TV that we experience now, it was just normal back then, didn't think anything about it. But nowadays, you watch an old episode of the A-Team or something, or Dukes of Hazzard, it stands out because it's so different. But back in those days, did you ever notice nobody died on those shows? If Roscoe P. Coltrane was chasing the Duke boys, and the Duke boys, General Lee, jumps over the ravine, and Roscoe don't make it, and he lands in the creek. Did you ever notice how they would always have a clip on the show showing Roscoe getting out of the car that was sinking in the creek or the river? They always made it a point to let you know, the audience know, that Roscoe P. Coltrane or Cletus, whoever had wrecked, that they were okay. They weren't hurt. Same thing with the A-Team. The A-Team was supposed to be, an elite military group that escaped maximum security prison into the Los Angeles underground. And if you have a problem and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, they were out there. B.A. Baracus, Mr. T, he's driving that van. Hannibal, he's shooting machine guns out the side of the van. Did you ever notice they never hit anybody? These are supposed to be elite military commandos. They never hit anybody. If an explosion happened, a car flipped over, they always made it a point to have a clip in the TV show where you would see the person that they were shooting at or the person that had wrecked the car, you would see them getting up, getting out of the vehicle. They would let you know that person was okay. Nobody died on those shows. Something changed. I don't know when it was that the change happened. I don't know if it was like a light switch and just happened once upon a time. From this date forward, they started showing all this death, or if it was like a gradual change over the course of a few years. I don't know. I don't remember. It didn't really stand out at the time. But now, when you watch shows and movies now that are just, super graphic in what they show, and then you go back and happen to catch an old episode of the A-Team or Dukes of Hazzard or something, and you see man, it was a different time back then. It was a much different time. It was just, and I have to believe that the TV shows and movies and video, and I'm not saying that this should change, right? I'm not saying that they should not show this stuff on movies or video games. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not trying to have these things censored or nothing. I'm just saying there is a change that happened with TV shows, movies, and video games. And I think that change, as it has taken place over the course of time, has caused people to, I don't want to say not value life as much, but not, I'm trying to think, I know what I want to say, but I can't figure out the best way to say it. I don't think we think about it much. And maybe I'm just speaking for myself here, but news story comes on and somebody in a foreign country, there's some attack or whatever, a bunch of people died. You don't really think twice about it anymore. It's just another day. Whereas I think in at least when I was growing up in the 80s, if something happened like that, it would be, I don't want to say a bigger deal. It's always a big deal, I guess, but it would seem bigger. It just happens so frequently now. I just think that it's different. We react to it different. We think about it different. And maybe I'm just talking about myself. Maybe I'm just speaking from my own life experience here. But it seems like society as a whole, just from me looking at it, looking outward at it, it seems like society as a whole has just changed a lot in the last few years. And it's been, I guess, a gradual change. I can't point to any moment in time where it was like a light switch. Things just, today they were one way and the next day they were different. I don't think it was like that. I think it was more of a putting a frog in cold water and slowly heating it up type thing to the point that we're at now. but I don't think you can walk it back. Like, I appreciate a good episode of the A-Team now as an adult, but if a show like the A-Team come on, a new show, something different, different cast of characters, different storyline, all that, if that come on today, I don't know that it would do very well. Like, I don't know that the show would last. I don't know that it would get watched, because I think our appetite for, I won't say the violence, but I mean our appetite for the realism is just more now. Kind of the same thing with wrestling, right? Like, again, I've told you all, we've talked a lot of wrestling on these unedited videos. But when I was a kid, in the 80s, myself as a kid, of course, I didn't know any better. I thought wrestling was real. But a lot of old people did too. My great-grandma went to the grave thinking wrestling was real. You couldn't tell her otherwise. A lot of people did in those days. And then as time went on, people realized it was scripted. The outcomes were predetermined. But you still watch because it was an interesting show. The storylines was good. You get up through the mid to late 90s there, the Attitude Era, they called it, D-Generation X, The Rock, Stone Cold, NWO there in WCW. Like, the storylines were really good. They kept pushing the envelope, and everything that they would do every week, the new show, it was like something hadn't been done before. It was great. But you reach a point where you've maxed out. Like, you can only take it so far. And then what do you do? And you can't walk it back. And so WWE tried to walk it back when Linda McMahon, when she tried to run for office up there, whatever, I don't remember what it was, Senate or Congress or something, they wanted to make the show PG. And they changed it from the Attitude Era kind of to, we're going to make this show all about kids. And once upon a time, in the 80s, WWE was all about kids. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Big Boss Man, $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. I could go on and on and on. But the show was kind of geared toward kids back then. Now, we didn't know necessarily that the matches were predetermined, but the larger-than-life characters, the storylines, they were very kid-friendly back in those days. But once you go beyond that, you can't take it back. And now the show's just unwatchable. And of course, I say that, and hell, I mean, WWE's thriving. Netflix just paid them $1 gazillion because they're going to move the program to it here. I don't know when they're moving it. Sometime this year, I think, or beginning of next year or something. But, I mean, obviously people are still watching, people are still showing up and whatnot. I guess kids probably are, but people my age, like, I don't know anybody that watches it nowadays. When I was a kid, we all watched wrestling. WCW and WWF, like, it's what you did. You went to school, you talked about it. You had the action figures. You had t-shirts, man, like you just, but now, I don't know anybody that watches modern day wrestling. And how many times have I talked about wrestling on videos? Nobody chimes in the comment. If somebody talks about wrestling in my comment box, it's old stuff. It's not modern day stuff. Nobody's trying to sell me on watching the show now. Like, Justin, you got to watch this. It's so much better now, or this person, that person. Nobody does that because it's unwatchable. And so, I mean, again, best I can figure, it's kids watching now. But you can't, they tried to walk it back and become kid-friendly again. And they did, as far as the show goes, but it's just the ratings now. It's obviously enough ratings to get them $1 gazillion from Netflix, but the ratings now are never going to be what they were back in the late 90s there, when they were drawing more viewers than football and baseball games every week. Like, it's just not going to be that way now. And I don't think it'll ever be that way again. Unless you just get something that's just so unique or different. But that's, I mean, what can be done at this point? I mean, I can't even imagine anything that can be done. these guys that are wrestling nowadays, they're doing all these acrobatic moves that are, it's cool to watch, but it's just so damn unrealistic that it's, the magic's gone. Best I can describe it, the magic is gone. And I think it's the same way on TV, movies. I don't think that you can necessarily have an A-Team or Dukes of Hazzard like show that's going to succeed today. Now you can maybe remake the A-Team or Dukes of Hazzard or Knight Rider or whatever, pick your show from the 80s, and you can play on people like me, my age now, that's an adult and is going through a midlife crisis and trying to regain my childhood or something. You can play on the nostalgia factor with me and get me to watch the remake of that show. But to come out with a brand new show with a type of storyline like that, I don't think I would be interested. And I don't think many other people would be interested either. So that's a long round. I don't know how the hell we went from Pete Rose to that, but boy, we covered a lot in there. If these damn fish need to bite so that we can get our act together here or something. I was pretty optimistic when we got that big blue and the other fish shortly thereafter, but boy, it's slowed down since then. The sun's certainly up higher now. I don't know if that's got a roll in it or not. Still see bait there. I mean, my screen's dirty. You may not be able to see with the glare, but I can see some fish and some bait and whatnot. There are baits out here. So it's just a matter of time. If fish work in here, we're going to have a chance at catching them. But will they work in here? I don't know. Again, I personally am at a loss. We've never had current flow like this and water conditions like this in my lifetime that I can remember this time of year. You know, I've kind of learned how to fish around here throughout my life, so I kind of know when to go where and what to do when. So this time of year, I've got a routine and I kind of, places I hit, things I like to do, and it's successful for me. But now we've just had a complete change, just a complete, everything's different, and I don't know how it's going to affect fish. I don't know. I'm learning as we go. That first day that I fished in kind of these conditions early in the week, I was up on Fort Loudon. And we had a pretty productive day out there in the main channel. Now the current was moving. It was moving a lot faster. You never have current through there. But it wasn't fast. I mean, it was moving. It was enough to get your scent moving, but it wasn't. You could anchor down on the main channel, no problem. Like it was. Now down here, current's a lot quicker where I'm at today. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm at a loss, but we're going to soak some baits here. I'm going to fish another hour or two today before I go home and mow, and we're going to see what happens out here. We either get bit or we don't. And this is fishing, man. I bring you on these trips. Since I switched to this unedited, raw and uncut format, this is what you get, man. If things work out, it works out. If it don't, then you see it, man. It's as real as it gets. I like coming out. I like being on the water at sunrise. Even though lately the sunrise bite hasn't been there. When I have gotten better fish lately, it seems like it's been later in the morning. But I like being on the water for the sunrise, and I know as we're into October now, temperatures are going to start to cool. And I know I'm a pansy in the cold, man. I know I don't like being cold, so I'm going to be switching to afternoon trips very soon. And so I don't know how many of these morning trips we got left, and I want to enjoy every one of them. In fact, by the time I get back from Louisiana, assuming I get to go, I'm planning on leaving out on the 7th. So we'll see. Weather dependent. As long as there ain't no more hurricanes or tropical storms coming through, I'm going to go to Louisiana. Get ready for that tournament. But when I get back, you know, at that point, it'll be mid-October, which is probably when this video is coming out. I'm a few videos ahead. But I don't know what the temperature will be like. If it's in the 40s or even low 50s in the mornings, I may be switching over to afternoon trips then. So this might be one of my last morning trips for the year, potentially, until next spring. Here's an update for you, and so regular viewers might give a damn about this. I will not be getting the new kayak before the Louisiana trip. That is 100% not going to happen. My plan had been to go up to Raccoon Creek Outfitters there in Ohio to buy my next kayak. And I wanted to look at the Bonafide XTR 130 in person. I wanted to take a look at it, check it out. And if I liked it, I was going to get it. And if I didn't, then I was going to get the NuCanoe Unlimited. Much as I don't want a NuCanoe, I was going to break down, and that was my second choice. I got the new motor at the house there. I got new battery. Like, I've just been waiting. That's a big splash. I just been waiting for the new kayak. And Bonafide had said they were going to release that new kayak in September. Well, it turned out to be late September when they released it. And unfortunately, Raccoon Creek didn't get their shipment in before the hurricane hit. And that's when they had all that Hurricane Helene hit Florida, moved up and caused just catastrophic flooding there in the western North Carolina and the very eastern part of Tennessee. I always say I live in East Tennessee. That's what all of us around here, we say East Tennessee. And we are in the eastern part of the state. But Tennessee's so long that when you hear about East Tennessee flood, it was actually up in the mountains areas that flooded, but you know, I'm 2 hours from there, but still East Tennessee because of the way the state is. But anyway, Raccoon Creek didn't get their shipment of Bonafides in before all of that flooding happened. And so, to my knowledge, Bonafide had released a statement there yesterday about it. If I understood correctly, they didn't have any damage at their factory there, at their shop. But a lot of the towns and the roads around their shop were severely damaged. And so they're shut down right now. They're closed down. And so I don't know when Raccoon Creek will be able to get their shipment of the XTR 130 kayaks. I don't know yet. As of today, October 3rd, I don't know when they're going to get their shipment in. Again, the Bonafide factory didn't sustain any damage, so those kayaks are there, ready to go. It's just getting them out to the dealers right now because of all the damage there in the Carolinas. It's everything's going to be delayed for a while, which is, you know, with everything going on over there, getting a kayak is the least of anybody's concerns. I mean, it's a minor, an insignificant thing compared to what people are dealing with over there right now. So thankfully at this point, the floodwaters are receding. It's just a matter of getting people supplies that need it over there and unfortunately finding bodies and whatnot that's from people that were swept away in the floods. But I had talked about that kayak, and if I'd been able, I'd hoped to get it this week. Raccoon Creek had initially said they were going to be getting them in stock yesterday. October 2nd was their date they were going to be getting them. And so I had hoped to maybe go up later this week or this weekend here before the tournament and get the kayak and get it rigged and possibly take it to Louisiana, but that's definitely not going to happen. So I'm probably going to go ahead and take this kayak. I'd been back and forth on either taking this one or my pedal kayak. This kayak would be better for the catfishing, having the motor, the GPS functions and all that. My other kayak will be better for saltwater. Since I'm going to be spending most of the time catfishing, I think the smart move is to take this kayak. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I've been back and forth on it though. I'm probably only gonna spend a day or two saltwater fishing. I was initially gonna go down for like 2 weeks, but I'm thinking now it's gonna be more like a 7 to 10 day type trip. And because I'm ultimately, I'm gonna be in the Keys next month in November. So I'll get some saltwater fishing in then. And so I think I wanna focus on the catfishing. I mean, it's supposed to be an awesome fishery down there. The boat tournament put up huge scores there last month, and I don't know what it's going to be like. I've never fished the Mississippi River at all. I've never fished in Louisiana before, so I don't really know what to expect as far as the current flow, how safe it's going to be out there with the barge traffic and a kayak. Like, I don't know. But seeing the size and the amount of fish that's being caught down there, I think it's got a lot of potential to be a good time. And in the event that our tournament is just, if there's too much current flow on the Mississippi River to be safe for our kayak tournament, they have opened up some of the bayous there around the Mississippi River in that area. And one would think, because the emphasis down there in Louisiana is all them saltwater fish, one would think the bayous are probably just stacked with catfish too. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I'm optimistic. What I want to do, my plan right now, as long as everything stays the same as far as weather goes, what I want to do is leave out on Monday the 7th. Daphne the dog's got a vet appointment, get her shots. Go do that, get that taken care of. Drop her off. She's going to stay with with her grandparents, my parents. I don't know that that's a good idea, but they're going to try to watch her for me. Fingers crossed she don't trip my dad or jump on him, being the wild, crazy dog she is. But they're going to try to watch her for me. So I'm going to take her to the vet, drop her off, then I'm going to load up and leave. And I'm going to drive part of the way to Louisiana on Monday afternoon, evening, then drive the rest of the way Tuesday morning, and either start fishing on Tuesday afternoon or at least drive around and figure out a plan for Wednesday. But I definitely want to start fishing on Wednesday. And then I'm going to fish Wednesday, Thursday, Friday leading up to the tournament, catfishing. Saturday is our catfish tournament. I think that's the 12th, I think. And then try to do some saltwater fishing either that Sunday, Monday. Hell, if the catfish bite's real good, hell, I may end up doing that a little more. But I would like to try. You're going to be so close down there. And I don't know a damn thing about fishing that area in the salt. Like, I don't know if I can catch anything, or this kayak definitely ain't the one to take out in the ocean. But I'm down there, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. You may see some saltwater trips from down there. You may not. I don't know. Hell, you may not see any videos from that trip if I just completely just suck it up down there. Going to a new body of water, you never know. I'm just going to do what I do. You know, the things that have made me successful catfishing, and I've caught fish everywhere we've been for our tournament scene, from Alabama, Kentucky, Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina. I've caught fish all over. And so I know what I do works. Will it work down there while I'm there? The great unknown. But I hope to film every day while I'm in Louisiana. That's going to be my hope. That's going to be my plan. That's what I'm going to at least try to do. But I'll definitely be not in the new kayak. And then hopefully by the time I get back home, hopefully Raccoon Creek will have gotten the new kayaks in by then, and I can plan on making a trip up there maybe later on in the month or early November. If I don't, I mean, I'm not really, I ain't in a rush to get the new kayak at this point. I mean, I'd like to, but if it takes me another 2 or 3 weeks, a month, it's not a big deal. When I go down to Florida, there, fish the ocean, I'm not going to be taking the new kayak anyway. I'm going to be taking my pedal kayak down there. So that's the next major trip. I've fished South Carolina. I've fished Santee Cooper in this kayak before, and it'll be fine if I end up in this one. You know, it's not a... I pretty much know what I'm going to do at Santee Cooper already. That's our final tournament of the year. If the wind is up, I know where I'm going to go. If the winds are calm, I don't know where I'm going to go fish on tournament day necessarily, but I know what I'm going to be doing. So it's just a matter, I'll try to pre-fish over there a little bit if I can and try to figure out a plan of where the best place to do that. But it's all weather dependent on Santee Cooper because of how wide open it is. And it's just like a daggone ocean out there when the wind kicks up because it's just so big and so wide, and there's no hills or trees or anything. It's just wide open. The wind, there's no wind blocks. So it's really wind dependent as far as how I'm going to be able to approach that kayak fishing over there. But having fished there before, I have some knowledge of knowing my way around over there and launch sites and stuff, at least on Lake Moultrie. Santee Cooper's made up of 2 lakes, Lake Moultrie and Lake Marion. I've never fished on Lake Marion over there. I've heard that Marion has more flatheads and Moultrie has more blues. That's what I had heard, although there are flatheads in Moultrie and blues in Marion. But from what I've heard, one's better, Marion's better for flatheads, Moultrie's better for blues. And when I have fished, I've fished 2 trips over there. I fished a tournament over there back in, I believe it was 2019. I think it was 2019. I fished a tournament over there. I won it. Basically fishing all, it was 100%. I fished off the bank. I pulled my kayak up on the shore because the wind was so bad and it was blowing in on this area. And so I just cast baits out there right in front of me where that wind had been blowing in. And there was all kinds of bait and stuff stacked up in there. And I caught some big fish, caught several fish, won the tournament. And I went back, I think I went back in 2021 or 2022. And I fished over there. And I didn't catch a lot of fish when I went back, but I did catch some good quality fish. So Santee Cooper, it's an awesome place. It's a beautiful country over there, just beautiful countryside. The Santee Cooper is a beautiful body of water. But I do have a little experience there now, so I at least kind of know. And both times I've fished there before have been in the fall, which is also helpful since we're going to be there, I think November 1st or 2nd, whatever that Saturday is our tournament day. So it's going to be kind of in the same time period as when I've been there in the past. So that'll be helpful too as far as trying to figure out at least where to start at on my pre-fishing, where to go. But if the wind's cranking and blowing the same direction, you can probably expect to see me in the same spot you saw me back in 2019 when I won that tournament. Because that was a good place to set up right there on the bank. It was a nice sandy area. I could pull the kayak up on the shore. Had plenty of room to be able to land fish, and there were some big fish in there. But the conditions were just, I mean, it sucked to you couldn't get out in the kayak hardly in those conditions because the waves were so big, but the conditions were perfect for fishing off the bank in that particular spot because it had been blowing in on that shoreline for so long, had all that bait up in there. Like it was perfect conditions for that. And it paid off, got the win. That video's on my channel there. It's got quite a few views. It had a few 100,000 views. One of my better performing videos of all time. So yeah, hopefully we'll have similar success. I'm right now heading into the Louisiana tournament. I'm second in points in the Angler of the Year race. And I think it's going to be difficult to pull it out. Ryan's got 3 wins. I've got 2 wins. 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a 4th. So I need a win and big fish at some point in either Louisiana or Santee Cooper to have a chance at getting back in the point race. Well, like I'd mentioned there in one of these videos, though, as much as I'd like to beat Ryan, because I hate for him to have anything over me, I'm going to get paid for the Angler of the Year either way, because it's paying out 3 spots, and the worst I'm going to finish is 3rd, based on where I'm at in points and where 4th place is at right now. Like the worst. Adam Flegel, he's in 3rd place right now. He could, depending on how he does in the next 2 tournaments, he could pass me up. He has a chance to win too. He's like, you know, he needs some things to go right for him, kind of like I do, to have a chance of leapfrogging me and Ryan, but potential is there for him to win still. But worst case scenario for me is that Ryan stays ahead of me, Adam leapfrogs me, and I end up in 3rd for Angler of the Year. And you still get, I don't remember what it is, it's a few $100s for 3rd place. So either way, it's going to be some extra cash there for the Angler of the Year prize. But I do hope to do well. You know, I want to. When I go somewhere in one of these tournaments, by gosh, I'm looking to win. So we'll go, we'll do what we do. I don't know what we're going to do about bait in Louisiana. I'm going to try to take some skipjack with me. Ideally, I'd like to get out maybe Monday morning before I leave there and load up on skips and take a cooler with me down there to at least get started with on Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday morning. But with the skipjack being so hit or miss lately, like it's just been, you find skipjack today, they're going tomorrow. It's been like that all summer and now into the fall. It's been like that. It's just been a weird year for skipjack. They've been incredibly tough this year. And so it's possible I don't get any bait to go down Louisiana with, but I don't know. I think some of the guys in the boat tournament were using mullet and having good success. I don't know anything about catching mullet. I'm gonna have to, this weekend coming up, I'm gonna do some research. I'm terrible about researching where I'm going. I typically just look for boat ramps and just show up and go. But I'm gonna try to do some research on how to catch some bait down there and try to do some research on what kind of places that I can maybe get this kayak in the ocean down there to do some stuff. So we'll see. You know, we'll see what happens. I don't know how it'll shake out, but we'll figure something out. If nothing else, I mean, somebody down there is going to have some bait for sale, whether it's a bait shop or maybe you go to one of them fishing charter services. Fishing guides, I mean, those are huge down there. Go down there to one of the fishing guides and get the scraps from where they're cleaning fish for their clients. I mean, we'll find a way to get some bait. It may take me a day or two to figure out how or where, but we'll find something. And there's going to be a group of us going too. So, you know, one thing that's different in the kayak catfishing tournament scene versus some of the other tournaments, definitely like the kayak bass fishing tournament, man, ain't nobody helping nobody in it, but everybody down there, even though we're competing against each other, everybody's cool with helping everybody else. If you're on bait, you tell the other competitors where to get it, or how to get it, or whatever, or share it with them. I mean, we all do that. We all try to help each other out in this tournament scene. So, I mean, we're super competitive with each other. We all want to beat each other on tournament day, but on the days leading up to the tournament, we all kind of try to help each other out, take care of each other as far as bait and launch sites, looking after each other, stuff like that. it's a good community. The group that we have right now, at least, I don't know if it'll always be like that, but the core group that we have right now of people that are going to these tournaments, it's a good group of people, and just a good group of guys. So there'll be several people down there. I don't know how many, because it's such a long trip for the guys in Ohio. I don't know that many of them are going, but there'll be a handful of us too, and we'll all be fishing kind of the same areas, and so we'll be looking out for each other. I think there's the biggest challenge of this Louisiana trip is going to be finding access, because the launch sites are so limited on that stretch of river that we're going to all kind of be probably kind of in the same spots, same general areas at least, just for lack of a better option, really, just not being able. Sometimes when we go somewhere, like if you fish somewhere on Tennessee River, for instance, that first tournament of the year, it was on Wilson and Pickwick. Well, those two bodies of water are huge, and there's all kinds of ramps all up and down, so people could be anywhere on those two bodies of water. But somewhere like this, we're on the lower end of the Mississippi, it's like, well, if there's 3 ramps, then, like, you take however many people we got and divide by 3, and that's what you're pretty much going to have at every ramp, probably. So, either way, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to the drive, but I'm looking forward to going down there and fishing and checking it out, and probably try to buy a voodoo doll when I'm down there, a little memento. I will probably eat a crawdad at some point, just to say I did. And yeah, we'll have a good time. Hopefully we'll have more action than what we're having out here right now. I think I want to switch out our baits. How long has it been since we switched baits? Probably a long time. Let's just, you know what else I think I want to do too? Is this crappie still alive? Let's reel up our other crappie here. Let's reel him up and see what he looks like. We may cut him. He's dead. He's deader than damn it. Yeah, we're gonna cut him up. We'll put a piece of cut crappie on here. We'll take his friend out of the bucket, see if he's still alive. Drop him down. And I guarantee if he's still alive now, he ain't gonna be tomorrow. So, no need to try. What'd y'all do with that net? I swear y'all have lost the net again. It's way up under the seat. I swear you all do this stuff to me on purpose just to make me look dumb. You have hid that net from me. Okay, let's see if we can get him here, if he's still alive down in there. Yeah, he's still alive. If I can get him out. My net's a little too big for that bucket, and that crappie's way too big for that bucket. He's still kicking a little bit, not much. Yeah, this crappie's seen better days. It just, that water, man, it went sour last night. Let's put him on the board there, make sure we legal for all y'all out there that's concerned about it. He's about 12 inches right there. That's another dang good crappie, man. Dang good crappie right there. Well, there he is. He's wiggling a little bit. We'll send him down and see what happens with him. I'd be more optimistic with him if we were fishing with a crappie that still had some life in him. But we'll see. He'll catch fish or he won't. I do think I will take this crappie though, and we'll cut him up. We'll take a chunk of him here and put on this back rod over here. At least he's, if nothing else, at least he's good and fresh. Fresher than the other ones that I've got in my cooler there. We'll just give these fish a different option. I kind of wanted to, I had them other crappie in the cooler, but they were, today would make 2 days old. And so I wanted to use the skipjack for the cut bait there on the other rods, at least to start with, since they were fresh as of yesterday afternoon. We'll try this. Can't hurt. Again, if you're wondering about the legality of it, Tennessee, you are allowed to use sport fish for bait, as long as they're appropriate size, which these are. I just showed you on the measuring board. As far as cutting the crappie goes, and being able to prove that they are such a size, if a game warden pulled up, visit my last video. I went on an epic rant about that. I probably talked about that for 30 minutes or longer. So if y'all care that much about it, go visit that video. I'm not going to rehash it again. Hell, I'll just close that cooler up. I was wanting to get another skipjack out there. Let me take another. I'm gonna take one of these smaller skipjack here. I got some variety of sizes of skipjack here. We got big ones and we got little ones. We'll just see. One of these little ones will do for us. We ain't gonna get 2 baits out of them, but let me poke some holes in this too, kind of get it bleeding since it's a longer piece. Okay. I usually don't like the smaller size skipjack like that, but desperate times, desperate measures, man. You just gotta take what you can get these days. That one there, man, that one there still looks pretty good. Boy, it's still, I mean, it's still really, we'll go ahead and put this other one on. I can't remember when I'd switch that bait out. It would probably be okay, but I'm just trying to figure something out here, man. Just trying to get us another bite. I was pretty optimistic right there when that big fish hit and we got that other bite right away. And now it's just like nothing's moving through here, I don't reckon. I don't know. Maybe another video with limited action. It's just, it is what it is, man. It's all I can do is put in the time, and whatever happens, happens. It ain't that I don't want to catch fish. I do. I want a lot of things in life. We don't always get what we want. You can have, what is that saying? You can have anything you want, but you can't have everything. All right, let me clean the cutting board again, because God knows y'all ain't gonna do it. Them skipjack's been eating good. Look, this fell out of his gut pocket there on one of them. A little piece of a shad. All right. Well, we got everything spruced up. We got a live bait that's actually alive on over there. We've got a piece of crappie on the other rod. And 2 pieces of a smaller skipjack on the front tube. Crappie here, he was moving a little bit, so he is kicking down there a little bit. He's trying to swim a little bit, so good. And at least we know that one's alive. Don't know how long the other one had been dead, but speaking of dead, let's turn that pump off there, because there ain't no reason to have it anymore. Just run that battery dead, we keep it going. Let's dump this water out too. This kayak has the ability to support the weight of this bait bucket along with me and the cooler and everything else in my gear. But when you've got the weight of that tank right there, and that thing being 5 gallons, water 8 pounds a gallon, it's 40 pounds sitting right there. It makes the front of the kayak a little bit more heavy, which makes it a little bit more tippy. And what sometimes happens, this happened on a recent video where I caught that big flathead. You go to lean over to grab your fish, and the tank will shift, it'll slide, and you get that 40 pounds of weight moving over, and it can kind of jolt you a little bit, make you move a little bit, make your butthole pucker, basically. So we can dump that thing out, and at least we won't have any issues like that. I don't know what that bass fisherman down there is doing. That's that same guy that come out of this creek earlier. He was up here in the middle of the channel. Now he's down here in the middle of the channel. I don't know if he's maybe catfishing now or what. Who the hell knows? I'm glad he ain't been all up on us. I was just worried to death he's going to come over here, work his way all the way down here to where we're at. I was hoping to not have, well, I'm going to have some human interaction today, because on my way home, I'm going to stop and get something to eat. I'm filming this on a Thursday, so it's chef's choice at Donna's Diner today. I'm going to stop in there, so I'll have human interaction in there, but they're all good people in that place, so I don't mind that. But I wasn't wanting to have any other human interaction. My plan when I leave the water today was I'm going to get me something to eat. I'm going to go home and eat, of course. I'm going to mow. And I probably ain't going to leave the house the rest of the day. So if I can avoid people until I get to Donna's, I'm good. Thursdays is always a good day to go. You never know what you're going to get down there. It could be chicken casserole. It could be country fried steak. I hope it's not sauerkraut and weenies day. I'm sure their sauerkraut and weenies is probably amazing, but because all the other food down there is amazing. But I'm not a big kraut and weenies kind of guy. That's not my thing. That's an acquired taste, and I never acquired it. So I won't be having that today. If it is sauerkraut and weenies day, I'll be getting a burger. Which the burgers down there is the best burgers in town. The other place called the Burgers there in town, we used to like it, but the service has been so bad the last couple times we went in there. Like you couldn't get a refill on your drink. My girlfriend, the last time we went, got a salad. Got the buffalo chicken salad. They put these pieces of buffalo chicken, or it's like fried chicken breast cut up with buffalo sauce. They put it in a salad, right? And if you have that kind of salad, you're obviously going to want either some ranch or some blue cheese dressing, right? I mean, it's a salad. You don't eat a dry salad. Well, they bring her food out, and I think I'd got a burger, and she had got that salad. They didn't bring out no dressing, no ranch dressing. So she said, my girlfriend said, "Hey, can I get the dressing?" And the waitress said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot." Well, we're sitting there, and I go ahead and start eating because I'm rude like that. And hell, I'm halfway done with my burger. She still ain't brought the damn dressing. I finally got up and walked up to the bar there and asked one of the other waitresses, "Can I get some dressing?" And our original was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot." But it's just been poor service there the last few times. And one time I was in there, I'd picked up a to-go order. And when I get a to-go order somewhere, we've talked about this on these videos, like I hate tipping on to-go stuff because you're putting it in a bag. It's no different than going through a drive-through, right? But there are some situations where I will tip. Like, for instance, when I go to Donna's today, whatever the special is, chicken casserole, country fried steak, whatever it turns out to be today, you're going to get the meat and 2 sides, and it's $7.50, so it comes out to be like $8 and change. I'm going to give them a 10. I'm getting it to go. I mean, they're not cleaning the tables waiting on, but I'm going to give them a 10, and thanks, I'll see you tomorrow type thing. You know, because, I mean, it ain't much of a tip, but they're just putting it in a styrofoam box, putting it in a bag, and handing it to me. I'm not being waited on. I'm not getting any service per se. And same thing, I go over there to the burgers. I go inside, I pick up my order. They're not bringing it to me in the car. I went in to get it. They're putting it in a styrofoam box, putting it in a bag, and handing it to me. But still, nevertheless, I sign the check there. It's got a tip spot. I go ahead, I put $1 there on the bill. Because I don't remember how much, my bill's, I don't know, $12 or something like that. Again, is $1 much of a tip on a to-go order? No. But what the hell are they doing? They're not providing any service on a to-go order other than just putting it in a box and handing it to me. So, whatever, but I put $1 on there. You know, somebody, whoever the waitress was, whoever done it, changed it, the 1 to a 7. Put it, and I got charged $6 more on the order. And of course, I didn't see it till way after the fact. But that pissed me off. Like, they stole from me. And you can make the argument, well, Justin, you should have tipped more. But it's a damn to-go order. If I had been in there in the restaurant and they had brought me drinks and brought my food out on a plate and was going to have to clean up after me after I was gone, I would certainly tip more. But on to-go orders, like, man, it's too damn much. You just shouldn't have to on a damn to-go order. But anyway, we've had some bad experiences lately at that burgers place. And now that place has gotten all political. They've put our mayor's sign up out there wanting him reelected. And, you know, I try not to get political on this channel. I don't want my comment box flooded with nonsense and everybody's political beliefs. But where I live is the current administration, the current mayor and his crooked city council has ruined our town. They have brought in any developer that comes in. Zoning laws, it don't matter. They walk into that city council. These developers get whatever they want. They're packing in apartment complexes, subdivisions, anywhere there's a piece of grass, they're trying to put a structure on it. And our town's just inundated with people right now. We don't have the roads for it. We don't have our property taxes. I live in the county, technically. They just raised our property taxes a few months ago because we got to pay for a new school. Why? Because the mayor and the current administration keeps bringing in all these people that we don't have the school system for. We don't have the power grid for it. We don't have the water for it. We don't have the sewer system for it. We don't have any of this stuff available. But they keep just packing more and more people in because their palms are all getting greased. The mayor has been involved in so many real estate deals, it's pathetic. So anyway, I'm not going to go on a big long rant, but I can't vote in that because it's in the city and I live in the county. I live a quarter mile from the line of what's considered city and county. I'm certainly affected by what goes on in the city because I shop there. I drive the roads, but I cannot vote in that election. Needless to say, all of us in the county overwhelmingly are not wanting our current mayor to get reelected. However, the one person that's running against him, nobody ever runs against him. Everybody's afraid of him. Nobody runs against him. We finally got one person running against him. The guy that's running against him is awful. He has no social media presence at all. And I don't know, he may be the same damn thing as what we got. Who knows? Because you can't find anything out about him. He sucks at social media, so he's going to lose. He has no chance at beating our current mayor. But, nevertheless, the burgers place was put up a sign. Right there, they got the building, like a parking lot thing here, a section here, small parking lot area here, and then a grassy area. And they've put up a big banner re-elect our mayor. And I thought, well, you know what? The service here sucks anyway. I've done been ripped off here once before, and now you promoting this guy who's ruined our city. And I listen, as business, I get it, right? You bring in all these people, you got to feed them. You got to feed these people. So what he's doing is great for the local businesses, bringing in all these extra people. But for everybody else who lives there, it sucks. I mean, it absolutely sucks. You can't get anywhere in my town anymore. Going from one end of town to the other used to take 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Hell, you try going now, especially if it's a peak time, you know, school traffic or when people's getting off work at the end of the day, it's going to take you 30 plus minutes to get across town because of all the red lights and traffic backed up. And it ain't like all these people, all these houses and apartments and everything being built. It's not like you can say, well, Justin, you need houses for the people growing up in town, whatnot, right? They're kids, young adults, they're growing up, they need places. They can't afford it. These places that are coming in, these subdivisions, it ain't 3-bedroom, 2-bath subdivisions. It's these giant ass, what we would used to call mansions, moving in. That's what they're building. These apartment complexes they're putting up, it ain't low-income apartments. It ain't apartments that are like the projects based on your income. No, it's a 1-bedroom is going to cost you damn near $2,000 a month. Who the hell in my town can afford that? The kids that grow up here, that's working here now, they can't afford to live here. They're priced out. So it ain't like it's benefiting them at all. Nobody benefits except the politicians and the real estate developers and all these damn Yankees that are coming from up north and out west. They're all moving south. And they're coming here and, you know, they're selling their place in New York for $1 million and coming down here and buying a place twice as big for $500,000, which has priced us out. But it's still so much more for the dollar than what they're getting where they're at because their own administration ruined their states years ago. But it's happening here now. It's happening here in Tennessee. It disgusts me. It repulses me. And I'm not going to support a business that supports somebody like that. I just totally disagree with what they've done with the town. So needless to say, Donna's has the best burgers in town anyway, even better than the place called The Burgers, but I won't be going back there again at all, ever. So, and I support their right to, I think posting these political signs is stupid. You're never going to you're never going to get a vote or change somebody's mind based on sticking a sign of whatever candidate you believe in your yard. Okay, it's stupid. Like it's 2024, man. If you're running for office and you are depending on somebody putting a sign in your yard to try to get yourself votes or to get your name out there, you're doing it wrong. Now listen, I ain't never ran for office. I've considered it. Just curiosity's sake with my social media following, I've considered like running for county commission or something. One of these spots in my town that takes 200 votes to get elected. I'm like, you know, with my following and having some knowledge of how to do social media, I'm like, I bet you I could get myself 200 or 300 votes and get one of these positions there. I don't really want to. I don't have a desire to, but, you know, I just feel like I could. But these people that are doing it, and they're putting out signs, just littering the roads everywhere. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, that is such a poor use of your time and your finances to put up these damn signs. And the people that are putting them up they're even dumber. Because the burgers, guess what? They just cost themselves business. Yeah, I don't spend a lot of money there. You know, me and a girlfriend, we might have went there a couple times a month on average. But am I the only person that's going to see that sign and not go back in there because of it? I guarantee you I'm not, because people in my area are passionate. I'm not alone in this, man. When the county commission, they had their thing there a couple months ago where they raised our taxes to pay for this school. Nobody wants this school. Okay, people were down there I don't know how many people went to the meeting to speak out against it, but there was a lot. Nobody, well, I take that back. There was one person that spoke in favor of the new school. However, he works for the school system, so he's obviously going to be biased. Nobody else wanted this damn school. We're not 100% certain we need the new school, and we for damn sure don't want it where they're going to be putting it, because traffic is going to be it's already a nightmare through there during school sessions anyway. Now you're going to put a second school on that road. It's going to be awful, y'all. Everybody goes down there, speaks out. The county, they were going to vote that tax increase in regardless. They had their minds made up regardless. But there's a lot of passionate people that are sick of what's going on in my town. They're sick of especially of the current city mayor and city council, because of they're just all involved in these real estate deals, man. Like every time you see one of these real estate deals of some developer that's bought this land or something, it's the mayor or somebody on the council that's selling the property to the real estate developer. And then that real estate developer then goes to the city council and they tinker with the zoning, whatever they need to put whatever apartment complex or whatever. It's all crooked. It's so obvious it's crooked, but you can't do nothing about it. And people are sick of it, man. And so, the business owner there of that restaurant, I get why they support him, because he's bringing in all these houses and extra people, and that's probably more business from them. But somebody like me, who's very passionate against it and is sick of it, and other people like me, I guarantee you, I see that sign, I'm like, nope, done with them, never again. And I guarantee you, I'm not alone in that. So yeah, they might be getting some extra business from these other people moving into town, but they're losing business too. So it's just stupid. It's stupid for a business to do that. It don't make any damn sense. Over a sign, like what are you doing putting up a sign? You are not changing anybody's votes over a sign in your yard. You're not. You're not getting anybody in, not over a damn sign. And not only are you not changing any outcome of any election because of a sign, but it looks trashy as hell. You pull up to a stop sign and there's 56 different candidate signs. You go to turn into Walmart, here's 56 more signs. They stick them anywhere there's a piece of grass, they're sticking these signs. They got more signs out in my town right now than what they're going to get votes on election day. I mean, again, it's like 20% of people in my town actually vote. It's a small number. So, I mean, it's a very small number of people. It's a very small number. They got more signs than what they get votes. It just trashes up the whole town. It doesn't do anything. In 2024, you need to be all over social media. If you're running for, what do you stand for? What are you running for? Are you going to raise my taxes? Are you for more growth in our town? Where the hell, do you have a plan? You bringing all these people, these houses in, do you have a plan on how we're going to fix our roads, our sewer system, our water, our power grid? When it was hot as hell this past summer, every day is damn near 100 degrees, they're telling us we need to raise our thermostats. That we need to conserve power because the grid can't handle it. Then why are you bringing in more people? If we don't have a power grid that can handle our current population, why are you bringing in more people until you fix that? And don't say, well, we need more people to get more property taxes, and that's how it never works out that way. It never works out that way. We've had a huge population increase since COVID. Not one damn thing has been done to improve our roads. Not one damn thing's been done to improve our water lines, sewer system, school system. Hell, we've brought in all these damn people. Now they're going to raise taxes on us for this new school. So the people bringing in, it ain't doing nothing. It's just. And hell, they put it a few years ago. They put in a rain tax. They tax us because it rains. Where the hell does that money go? God knows. It's just, man. And and this same mayor that's brought in all these people, you know what else he tried to do? You know what he spent our tax money on? They had a special election. They didn't want to have it in November when the mayor and his councilmen are up for re-election. They didn't want to have it then. So they spent like, I think it was $20,000, $25,000 to have a special election to try to raise our sales tax. Now that, thankfully enough people voted against it. It was like 2-1 against it. But it's like, man, they just keep, and what can you do? And in my city, it ain't like it. You can say, Justin, well, get out there. I can't vote. Because, I mean, I'm not in the city, technically. So I can't vote in a city election. Even though I'm like a quarter mile away, I'm affected by everything the city does. I can't even vote in it. I can't run for that office. I can't do anything. And you might say, well, Justin, why don't you just move? Well, why the hell should I have to? Why should I have to? I like where I live. I'm in a good location. It's just the actions and decisions of a handful of people who are in it for themselves, not for the greater good of our community, are ruining it for people like me. So, and it's a damn shame you can't get anybody to run against him. One guy's running against him, and I couldn't tell you a thing about him because he's got no social media presence. No social media, he's a name on a ballot, and it's like, what an idiot. If you're going to half-ass it, why even sign up to run? At least he ain't littering the town with signs, because he's literally, the guy that's running against our current mayor, he ain't done nothing. No social media. He don't have a single sign up in town saying, vote for me, mayor, or whatever, nothing. Like he's done nothing other than just get his name on the damn ballot. I'm like, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's just a life experience thing. Maybe he just wanted to be able to say, hey, I ran for mayor one time. It would be a cool life experience to run. I have no desire to do it, but it would be a cool life experience just to say you done it. But I promise you this, if I ever did run for something, I'd at least give it the college try. I'd put in some effort. I'd work the social media game. I'd try to reach some people. You would know where I stand. I wouldn't be raising taxes, and I'd let that be known. If we needed more money for something, you know what? Let's cut the damn budget. Let's cut some of the fat that we got in town and some of them jobs and offices that just shouldn't exist. Should the mayor get over $100,000 a year? Hell no, he shouldn't. He's give himself like, and this is, you tell me this ain't crooked. I know none of y'all give a damn about this. Do you know the mayor's salary has went up over 1,000% since he's been in office? 1,000%. The council keeps voting him to have a raise all the time. 1,000% it's went up. I'm like, but anyway, I ain't gonna get all political and stuff. I don't want my comment box. Save you politics, people. I don't give a damn what team you're on. I don't care. Don't litter my comment box with that crap. Because when people litter your comment box, it's always president stuff. Yeah, I was talking to my neighbor that lives down in the corner recently. And I'd met him for the first time. I've lived there 18 years. I'd never met the guy until here recently. And he's real political, man. He goes on these tirades, man. He gets passionate about it. He's talking about, you know, the right side this, left side that, man. He's passionate. And I bring up something about our local government, something that actually affects us every day. He don't know a damn thing about it. He didn't know the mayor. He don't know anybody on the council. He don't know anybody on county commission. He didn't know a damn thing about none of them. He can tell you everything about the president, though, but not a damn thing about the local government. And the local government, everybody makes a big deal about the president, the talking head in the big office. Folks, I've made money in my adult life. I've made money under every president we've had on both sides. Bush, both times. Bush Jr., both times. Obama, I made money. Trump, I made money. Biden, I've made money. Whoever wins the next election here, I'm going to make money under them. My life is not affected, other than maybe paying a little more to gas pump or whatever. My life is not really affected by the talking head in that office. But you know what my life is affected by? The talking head in the local office, the mayor, the city council, the county commission, the people that's raising your property taxes, the people that's raising your local sales tax, the people that's instituting this damn rain tax, whatever the hell that is that we pay. Like, those people affect me every single day. And you talk to somebody that's super, like my neighbor, that's super passionate about the president of the United States. He don't know a damn thing about what's going on right around him that's affecting him every day. And anytime my comment box in the YouTube section, anytime it gets political, it's always about a president, whichever side they're on. But again, none of them damn people can tell you one single thing about their local government, what affects them every day. So that's why I don't like talking politics to anybody. I don't want it on my channel. I've probably opened myself up to it with this conversation we've had here, which I don't even know how the hell we got on it. But save it, because I don't want it in my comment box. I don't care about what president you think ought to be where, because I got my own issues in my own town that it affects me personally every day, and that's the focus of my attention. Who I vote for president, whether that person wins or loses, ain't going to affect me one bit when it's said and done. Definitely won't affect me any more than what the mayor and the council is going to affect me. And again, boy, I'm really opening myself up for it here. But you know what's just blows my mind is that people they go to the polls and they vote for the president. Yet those same people will not even cast a vote in the local election because they don't know anybody. They haven't taken any time to know who your mayor candidates are, who your council candidates are, who's your county commission candidate. They don't know. They just go to the polls just to vote for a president, the person you see on TV. So who do you want to look at on TV representing the United States for the next 4 years? They don't know a damn thing about what's going on locally. And that's where 99% of any problems that you have from a politician, it's all going to stem from the local level. That's who's determining your property tax, your local sales tax, any extra that's added on to the gas tax, any stupid taxes like our rain tax that we have. Like, that's who's making those decisions, and it's a handful of people voting and deciding the outcome. I mean, and in my town, listen, it really is a handful of people because it's 20% of the people that live in my area vote for the local elections. 20%. You can win a county commission seat with a few hundred votes in my election, in my town. And those people that get on the commission, they're the ones that just voted to raise our property taxes. Even though the whole damn community come in there to speak out against it. It was crazy. I've never seen anything like it. It's so obviously corrupt. When you have that many people show up to a council meeting or a commission meeting, they all take their turn speaking out. Everybody gets 5 minutes, whatever. Everybody's speaking out against it. Everything you read online about it, everybody was against this tax increase. And it still gets voted through. Like, who are these people representing? It ain't, for damn sure ain't the people. So, whatever. I ain't gonna go on about it no more. I'll get myself mad. I don't want to be mad. I want to have fun today. I want to catch more fish than what we're catching here. What have we got so far? 3 fish. 4 bites, 3 fish. This is awful. Thank goodness that first one was pretty good fish, but still, it's been a tough day out here for us. I was optimistic when we got them 2 bites there. I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe this is going to work out. And we still got bait. I mean, look at all this right here. You can still see it. There's still all kinds of bait. You probably can't see with the glare and the dirty screen, but like there's still a bunch of bait in here. It's just a matter of, are fish going to work up in here? Like right there seems like a fish. Right there under us, man. He turned a second ago there. I had him. There's another fish. It's a little bit bigger mark. But I don't know. I don't know what's up today. Maybe we are. Maybe we're just in the wrong spot. Maybe there's not a lot of catfish here in this area right now. Maybe they've moved on. They might have moved upriver possibly to go up there and feed at the dam. Maybe they moved downriver to get out of the current. I don't know. I'm completely at a loss. I really don't know. It's just lack of experience. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime situation that we had happen here with all this rain and the water that they're moving through this time of year. If we have this much flow, it's in the spring usually, not in October. So things are different right now, and I'm struggling to adapt. And I'll be the first to admit that I'm struggling to adapt. But we're doing what we can do here, man. We're putting in time and logging hours, and going to be just thankful for the fish that we do get. I guess tomorrow, if I fish, I want to fish tomorrow. I may go back to Loudon tomorrow, possibly. This has now been 3 days in a row I've fished on Watts Bar. And, you know, the first day I give up trying to film before I caught the blue and the flathead that I got, but they were good fish. They were quality fish, but that was the only 2 fish I got that day. And then yesterday, Watts Bar, we got 5 fish there total. Today, we've got 3 fish so far. So, I mean, it's really, I'm really struggling to adapt. And I've tried different things. I mean, I went there that first day here on Watts Bar dragging from the boat ramp and the shallows in the back of that creek all the way out. Didn't do any good. Anchored there at the end of the creek there that day and got that blue and the flathead. And we anchored there yesterday. Got them few fish. Now here we up in the significantly more shallow water. Yesterday I was like 62 feet. Today we're 20 feet deep here. In this creek, it's got all this bait. And we found a bunch of bait fish, we're just not getting bit. I'm just failing to adapt, I guess. I'll figure it out eventually. Well, I'm going to fish tomorrow, and I probably won't fish here again until I get back from Louisiana. So by the time I get back, it'll be back to normal pool, normal flow. So I may not figure it out before it happens. I don't know. If we had all the answers, it probably wouldn't be as fun. Every day, I've said it before, every day's a puzzle. You just got to kind of figure out what it's going to take on that particular day, or stretch of days, however you fish. With me, typically what I do is when I leave the house, I go do whatever it was I'm going to do for that session. Now, if I was getting ready for a tournament, or if I was in a tournament, and this wasn't working, I'd try to adapt and do everything on the fly. But a situation like this, I kind of want to just sit here and see what moves through while we're out here. Now, unfortunately, it ain't really worked out for a lot to move through here while we're out here. I wish I'd just stayed out here when I first got on the water this morning. We'd had a lot more time with lines in. I wasted a lot of time going downriver, then having to come back. Don't know if that would have translated into any more fish or not. Who knows? But I definitely feel like it was the smart decision to cancel that plan to come back up here, just because of the amount of bait that we're seeing here and flipping around here. I mean, I keep seeing and hearing shad flipping right out here and stuff. So, and I caught a big flathead right out here recently. As a matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, I got a monster flathead out there. You know what I'm half tempted to do? I'm half tempted to go out there and just, it's going to be hard. You can't suspend out there in that flow. Our lines will be behind us. I'm half tempted to go out there though. Just see if we get bit or not. I ain't gonna fish for another hour maybe. It's a short run right over there. Ah, I'm on the fence about it, man. I'm on the fence. We ain't had a bite here in a while. I don't know if we'll do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. We'll have to go down to, we'll probably have, well, we're lying there on our live bait, or we'll kill him before we get over there. We may have to go down to 3 rods, maybe 2, because of the flow. I got 8-ounce egg sinkers on. These 8-ouncers are not going to keep our lines vertical in this current. So we're definitely not going to be able to fish vertically under us. But we can cast a couple behind us off the back. And maybe we can put the other 2 off the front and they'll just be at an angle and we can work them back. Let's just go try. Let's go see. I mean, what we're doing here isn't working. It's been, how long have we been at this crap now? Lord, hell, it's been over 3 hours. Boy, it don't feel like it's been that long. Let's back that off there so we can see where we're at. We'll go out here where I caught that big flathead a couple weeks ago and just see if there's anything going on down in that hole maybe. If it looks like the creek mouth downstream, it's going to be just devoid of fish, but we'll try it and see. We're just winging it, man. Come with me, folks. If you want to wing it, let's wing it. If you don't want to wing it, well, just fast forward to the end and see if we caught any more. Y'all probably won't be with me much. I'm going to fish another hour maybe. But my battery will die before I leave, so our time together today is winding down. I see some stuff out here too. I don't know. We'll see what the current's like when we get out here. Where I was at downriver, when I stopped, it was around 2 miles an hour. Because I stopped and I let the current take me to kind of watch it on the screen there to see, and so we'll see when we get out here. It'd be nice if it wasn't quite as strong out here, because I really don't want to. I hate casting these things out. I like fishing vertical. That's my problem. I like suspending baits, and you got flow this much, you just can't. It's hard to keep everything under you. Suspend fishing's better at very minimal flows or no flow. Yeah, we're gonna go off here though. It'll be probably 60 feet out here when we get off this drop. Let me fix this. We're gonna have to lower our depth so we can see anything. Go. Once we come out of that creek, I ain't seeing nothing on the screen. Nothing down there. Dead sea. We're still going to drop some baits down here. Just because you're not seeing anything might not necessarily mean that there's not fish there. Well, with this amount of current, it's possible that some fish could be just hugging real tight to bottom. And so, I mean, the baits, there's no bait here for sure. And a couple weeks ago when I caught that big flathead, I'm actually going to hug us over here. I'm going to come back this way and put us on this brake line over here. When I caught that big flathead, I was seeing bait. If you remember, those of you that come with me, we were kind of seeing bait off that ledge. There's nothing out here right now. But there could be some cats potentially that are just hunkered down on bottom to kind of get down behind stuff and help with that flow. So I'm going to go ahead, well, I'm going to put in my last hour here probably on this spot and see what happens. Like I said, it'll either work out or it won't. I'm going full speed at 2.2 miles an hour right now. Full speed under normal conditions in this kayak is 4.5. So flow is definitely moving out here. But no longer than I'm going to fish and no more battery than we've used today, I'll not have any problems as far as running out of battery or nothing. Yeah, I'm just going to work us right up here, kind of where we got that flathead, kind of on the edge of the brake line where our scent can go down into that hole a little bit, down to the deepest part of it. I may actually, since we got this much flow and since our line's going to be behind us, I'm going to work us a little farther up than what we got the flathead. And just see what happens, man. We're just experimenting. We're throwing doo-doo at the wall and see if it'll stick. I don't know why anybody would throw doo-doo, but in my nursing days, I had people throw doo-doo at me sometimes. I've had doo-doo thrown at me, handfuls of it. I've had urinals, like the pee jugs, I've had those thrown at me, chairs thrown at me, heart monitors thrown at me. You name it, I've had it thrown at me. Lunch trays. Crazy stuff happens. Get some psychiatric people, some violent people, and they get pissed off at you, they're gonna throw something. I'd rather them throw hands than throw a handful of doo-doo. I'd much rather take a fist to the face than be wearing doo-doo the rest of my shift, but shit happens, as the old saying goes. Literally in those situations. All right. We'll come to a stop here. We're on the edge. We're on that brake line. That out here to the right, it's going to be significantly deeper, but we're on the kind of the edge of the drop here, and then it's going to start to slowly come out more gradual here to the right. And so you've got a shallow flat to steep drop. We're on the edge right here where it starts to kind of, right here where it kind of starts to level off, and then it slowly, gradually goes off. It's probably going to be around 60, 62 feet out there right now with our water level being up just a smidge. Let's, boy, this live bait's going to be a problem because he's going to catch all that water. Let's just, he definitely needs to be behind us because he's going to be causing so much drag there with the size of him. I didn't even cast. I'm just letting that out. Look how far my line's going behind me. The current's really moving. Okay, my sinker hit bottom. Letting out a little more so it don't end up getting raised up off the bottom. Let's see what happens with that. Let's send our piece of crappie out on this side now. This right here is probably how I will have to fish when I go to Louisiana. to anchor fish is just have everything going behind me in the kayak. If we reel in a fish, we'll have to turn sideways and do it, because one of the reasons I was wanting that new kayak is to be able to, I'm gonna toss this one a little bit in front of us. That way as it sinks, when it hits bottom, it won't end up as far behind us. But the new kayak, I'm gonna have a 360 seat, and I'll be able to spin around, and in this situation, we'll be able to kind of fish off the back, which will be so much better for us as far as the comfort level goes. This will either work or it won't, folks. Fix this rod holder here. Turn the rod holders like that. If we get a fish on one of them back rods, we are going to be having a tangle for sure, because we'll be reeling the back lines in to the front lines. But I kind of want to put out some bait. I should be fishing with 2 rods right now, but with us having the variety on that we do with the live bait and the cut bait options, I just want to put them all out right now. If we get a tangle, we get a tangle. We'll deal with it. Yeah, it would be nice if we were like facing off the back of the kayak right now while we're in this situation. And the next one, that's what we'll be able to do in the next one. We'll be facing this direction while we do this. I mean, again, even on normal flow days, you just don't get this much flow here. It's a half a mile an hour, so you can fish vertically even when you're in the current. That's why people often ask, Justin, why do you use 8-ounce sinkers? Well, I use 8 ounces because I know for our typical flow that I experience here, if I want to fish vertically, suspend with my baits just up off the bottom in current, our normal current flow, I can do it with 8 ounces. But yeah, that 8 ounces is nothing out here, man. And I hope that thing's on bottom. I hope though. I actually don't think it is. I think I need to let out some more line to let that rig hit bottom there. Yeah, it hit bottom. Boy, that thing's way up in the water column. Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna work out. I think I need some heavier weights, or need to put my lines out farther. This may not have been the best idea. I should probably check this one too, see if it feels like it's on bottom. No, it don't. Boy, it was way up in the water column. Okay. Now let's let out a little more on this thing. I can guarantee you that crappie's way up. He's going to be catching so much water as he goes down through there. Like he's probably 20 foot off bottom right now. Okay. All right. Well, we fishing. We'll see what happens. And again, that's what I was thinking about yesterday. A day like today where action's been very limited. It's like, should I even post a video like this? On one hand, we caught fish. And I think it's helpful to some people who are wanting to learn how I set up on spots, what I do, even though it didn't work out particularly well so far today. To see the process and to see it start to finish, like, whether something works, whether it don't, you get to see it. I think that can build confidence versus just seeing somebody just reeling in fish over and over again on YouTube, and then you going out and trying to replicate it and not having that success. It makes you think you're doing something wrong. In reality, we all go through this stuff. when you fish in a new environment or different conditions, something you're not experienced with, well, we all go through a learning process. And I think seeing that, I think, can be beneficial. So I think about that. It's like, well, should I post a video like today where we only got 3 fish? I mean, I was worried about that yesterday and ended up with 5. I'm like, man, hell, here we are today. That one was pretty decent. It was fun catching it that shallow. I probably will post it just for scheduling purposes. I've taken that week off in Louisiana. I talked about that yesterday. Like when I'm down there, staying in a hotel or wherever I end up staying, the internet service, you can't upload these YouTube videos from hotel internet, not 90 gigabyte files, which is what these unedited videos, what they typically end up turning out to be about 90 gigabytes. On hotel internet, this ain't gonna happen. So I'm gonna have to wait till I get back home to upload any videos that I get on that trip, assuming I get some. I certainly hope I do. So I kind of needed some stuff stacked up in the coming week here to be able to not miss an upload, to not mess up the schedule. Y'all may not give a damn about missing an upload or whatever, but boy, the YouTube algorithm does. It'll punish you if you get off schedule. So I'll probably end up going ahead and posting this, although those of you that watch may end up regretting that I did. I can't blame you if you do. I certainly want to do better. I intend to do better, but just haven't done better today. I thought for a few minutes there we was going to, but it just didn't pan out. At least though in the future, after these last few sessions here, I will hopefully, and whatever I end up doing tomorrow, I will have some kind of experience background at least to be able to go on, whether it's good or bad. You know, of course, I hope this never happens again as far as the tragic flood and everything that happened with the way that hurricane moved through. We didn't have damage in my area, but just now, as far as this condition goes, this was from those floodwaters that were in the mountains. They've just worked their way down into the French Broad River, which feeds into the beginning there of Fort Loudon and then makes its way all the way down the Tennessee River. So the likelihood of anything like this ever happening again, certainly very slim, but you never know. These things are, you never know. I mean, hopefully it'll never happen again, but if it does, we'll at least have some experience to go on, whether it's good experience or bad. These fish today, though, they've let me down. The best part of my day today is going to be mowing my yard, because I'm looking forward to mowing, and I know it's going to look good now that it's green again, and it needs to be cut. Like, it's going to look good. And if Donna's has chicken casserole today, that'll probably be the best part of my day. I hope it's chicken casserole day. You never know. You go in there on Thursdays, it could be anything. It's a mystery. The rest of the days it's a designated day. Thursdays, mystery day. I'm hoping for chicken casserole, though. You know what I need to do, though, right quick for real? Bear with me a second here, folks. I am going to just check my battery level. Just to make sure, okay, I'm good. I've got for my trolling motor on this kayak here, I've got an Epic or I don't know if you call it Epic or Epoch. I never knew what the correct pronunciation was. But anyway, I got a 100 amp hour 12 volt lithium battery in there. And so it was fully charged when I come out here. You can see now it's still 71%. I ran full speed downriver, first thing, full speed back up to the creek we fished in. And now we over here just messing around in this current here, 2 miles an hour or whatever. So 71% there where we're at. But it's got a Bluetooth app for this particular battery, which is nice for being able to monitor that battery. Well, if you're on the water, it's amazing. If you run full speed on that motor, your battery's gone like that. Like it just goes super quick. But if you go full speed and then back it off like 3 or 4 clicks there on your remote, man, your battery will last forever. And so normally most trips I'll charge my battery like every other trip. If I make a really long run or something, I might charge it every trip, but usually about every other. And so my next battery, when I've got that other motor and battery already there at my house for the new kayak when I get it, but I got my new motor is a power pole motor. It's a 24 or 36 volt, meaning you can have it wired either way. If you run it on 24 volts, it's 80 pound thrust. If you do it on 36 volt, it's 100 pound thrust. So I wanted the maximum amount of thrust, which is maximum amount of speed, right? And so I bought a 36 volt lithium battery from Amped Outdoors. It's a 60 amp hour, and it's about the size as far as the physical dimensions of it, like a Group 31 size lead acid battery. But it's that Epic battery up there, the 12 volt, it's like 28 pounds, 29 pounds, I think. The 60 amp hour 36 volt that I've got, it's 48 pounds maybe, 46 pounds, 48. It's damn near double the weight is what I'm getting at. Same size, dimensions roughly, as far as physical size, but it's heavier. So, but it's got an app too, Amped Outdoors, kind of similar, like Bluetooth style amp, so that way I can open up my phone, see where I'm at as far as my charge goes, make sure I'm not running out. The way I've got things rigged up on this kayak, so the 100 amp hour motor, or 100 amp hour battery powers the motor. I've got a smaller 30 amp hour battery that powers my graph. Now I have the same plug-ins for the motor cord. The male on the motor, the male end, plugs into the female end for my battery connection on the big battery, and I have the same connection set up for my 30 amp hour. So worst case scenario, I'm out on the water, my battery goes dead in the motor. No problem. I can switch over to my graph battery, which again, it's smaller battery and probably has even less of a charge after I've ran a graph all day or whatever on it, but it's something. So if I run out of battery on my big battery, I can at least hopefully plug it into the graph battery and just travel slowly and be able to get back to the car without running out of juice. I've set it up that way to specifically handle that situation if it happened. Now, when I get the new kayak set up, with the new motor going to be a 36 volt setup, I'm going to have to be extra vigilant as far as where I'm at on my 36 volt battery, because I'm not going to be able to plug it into my graph battery like I do with this one. But the 36 volt will be more efficient with battery, and I think it'll work out. I don't think I'll ever have any issues, especially with how I fish and the distances I typically travel from wherever I launch at. I don't think I'll have any problems. But that will be a big difference with that. Just the weight and both of the motor and the battery. I'm going to be carrying more weight, and then how I'm going to be able to not have access to that second battery if needed. I've seen some more pictures of this new Bonafide, because some of the dealers did get their shipment before the hurricane rains hit. And so you're seeing the kayak from different angles and whatnot, different pictures than what the Bonafide website and their videos show, their little promotional videos. And so I'm very curious to see it in person. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. It's interesting seeing it from different angles. You can kind of, in my mind, think, okay, how would I mount a rod holder here, or how would I set this or that up? But until you see it in person, it's going to be, I want to see it. I want to set in it. I want to try to pick the damn thing up with it being so heavy. Like, I want to know what it feels like. You know, I want to know all those things and then make a decision from there. I really don't want the New Canoe. I don't like New Canoe, the company. But supposedly their manufacturing process has gotten better. They're actually made in the same factory that Bonafide's made in. So supposedly their process has gotten better. Their quality's supposedly gotten better. Maybe it'll work out. But I would just, if I can figure out how to mount rod holders on that Bonafide, then I would just rather go with it. Unless there's just some other flaw about it that I'm just not liking for whatever reason. But yeah, hopefully you'll go that Louisiana trip, come home, and at some point be able to get up there to Ohio. I mean, ideally, while I'm in Ohio, I'd like to be able to maybe get in a fishing trip up there, either Hoover or Sandusky Bay. I don't know if that'll work out or not with weather and timing and all, but I'd like to be able to do that. I'm going to drive that far. It'd be nice to fish a little bit. And then the other thing too, I got that trailer coming. It would be easier if I got the trailer first, because then I could take the trailer up there and set the bunks where they need to be to support that particular kayak, or whichever one I end up getting. What I'm going to have to end up doing now is take this kayak, the Hobie kayak, off the current trailer, readjust the bunks for the new kayak, and then when I get the new trailer, take the trailer I'm currently using, adjust the bunks back for the Hobie, and then I'm going to sell it with the kayak. Just try to, at least I'm going to try to anyway, try to sell it like as a whole package. That'll be my first goal. So, be easier if I got the trailer first, but I'm not sure it's going to be done. I mean, I ordered that trailer July 30th, I'm pretty sure it was. So it's supposed to be 90 days. So August had 31, September, that's 61. So it should be the end of October. And if I get back from Louisiana and it's mid-October, hell, I'd be better off just waiting a couple weeks to get the new kayak. That way the trailer will be here. Assuming there's no delays with the trailer, I'll have to call. No, I may do that. When I get back from Louisiana, I'll reach out to the guy. I bought that trailer from a company called Fish Texas, because they've got a really cool kayak trailer design. And it's going to keep my feet from getting wet this winter is what it's going to do. And so I may reach out to him when I get back home from Louisiana, see where they're at in the process, see if it's still same time period or if they've got behind, or maybe early. Best case scenario, maybe it's early. I doubt that. Nobody ever delivers early. It's always behind. But reach out to him, and if it's just going to be like a couple more weeks after that, then hell, I'd be better off waiting. Because like I said, we go to Santee Cooper pretty quickly after I'll be getting back home. But I mean, I've fished Santee in this kayak before, and so if I do it again, no big deal. But yeah, that may be what I end up doing. If I could have went ahead and got the new kayak, I would have certainly done it and switched over the trailer bunks and all that. But it's a lot of hassle just to have it for 2 extra weeks. You know what I mean? Like it's a pain. And the new trailer too will be better, it'll be easier to pull than my current trailer on long distance trips, just because of the tire size. The new trailer, I think it's got 15-inch tires, I think. Much bigger. It sets lower to the ground than my current trailer, but still has larger tires. It's a pretty unique design. Most of these kayak trailer companies, they all look the same, just different name on the side of them, and they're all overpriced. This trailer I bought's overpriced too, believe me, it's ridiculous, but it's at least a different design, and it's a lot of thought has went into the design as far as the walking platforms, both in the front and down the side of the kayak. Like that's what I want it for. Be able to back it in some of these launch sites in the winter when our water level's down, and not have to wade out in the damn water. So I can't tell you how many times I've got water down in my boots. And it sucks when that happens, you know. You get cold, wet feet out there when it's 30 or 40 degrees. And so this trailer will prevent me from having to get out that far, like walking in the water. I'll just be able to walk down the trailer and push the kayak off. So I think it's going to work out better. Just a matter of actually getting it here. I put that deposit. I had to pay the deposit when I put the order in there in July. I'm pretty sure it's July 30th. And so I just got to pay the rest of it whenever the trailer's finished and delivered and all that. And I had thought too about reaching out and see, like, maybe if they could get it ready early when I'm going to Louisiana, I'd just swing by there in Texas and pick it up. But hell, on a map, Louisiana and Texas look close, but in reality, hell, you got another 8 or 9 hour drive past Louisiana to get to where I'd need to go to get the trailer. So, like, hell no, they can just forget that. They can just deliver it. They can bring that thing to my house. I would like to go back to Texas and fish, though, at some point. I went down there back in 2022 to go on that buffalo trip. I would like to go back at some point, catfish, and maybe try to get some alligator gar at some point. I'd really like to do that. There's a log floating down. Thankfully, we're going to miss it. A lot of debris's been coming down. I wonder if some debris ain't gotten our lines. My rods look, especially this one, looks way too arched. We had that weeds and stuff come down a little earlier. I bet that crap got all in my line. Oh, I can feel it, man. Dadgummit. I bet you all of them are like that too. This one looks like it's a little, yeah, my gosh, there's all that stuff, the weeds and stuff that went through a little while. I guarantee it got on our lines, because all these rods are super bent over. Dang. There's probably a whole salad bowl down there on our baits. Well, folks, I tell you what, I think I'm about over it. I'm gonna have to reel in all this crap and get the salad mix off our lines. This ain't working out anyway. Ain't seeing, I mean, the graph, there's nothing on the graph. There's no fish at all showing up. We hadn't had any bites or anything since we've been out here, which ain't been that long, but still. And I don't know. I guess I made a mistake today. Picked the wrong place, wrong section of the river, wrong time, wrong technique. Whatever you want to call it, I've messed up today. I've really had a failure to, with the exception of the first day there on Fort Loudon earlier in the week where we had this extra water coming through. I felt like it was a pretty good day. Got several fish, got some quality fish. Certainly got more fish than what I normally get on Fort Loudon. But the last 3 days now, fishing on Watts Bar, like I have failed to adapt to these conditions and this situation. And, you know, not getting skunked, haven't got skunked at all the last 3 days. And we got a quality fish there earlier. I got a quality fish yesterday before I left. The day before, which I didn't end up filming, I got a couple quality fish. Like, we're getting some bites, but we're not getting the kind of trips that I would typically expect to have this time of year. So a little disappointing from that aspect, but the fish we've caught have been fun. The ones we got there earlier at 20 feet deep, 16, 17 feet of line out there, man, that's fun. So fun times, but I will be glad when things get back to normal, I think, or whenever I can figure out what the hell's going on and adapt to it better. I've just struggled to adapt. That's on me. That's got nobody to blame but myself with that. But anyway, I'm gonna reel this crap up. I'm gonna go to the house. I'm gonna go to Donna's and hopefully get me a chicken casserole if that's what they have today. And I'm gonna go home and mow the yard. And I'll find us another spot as bad as this one tomorrow. And if it's worse, well, you may not see a trip until Louisiana. And if it's a better trip, maybe you'll see that next. Who knows? Who the hell knows? But we fishing tomorrow one way or the other. Whether it works out for video, I don't know. But regardless, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for sitting through this with me today.